Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Folks, today is Tuesday, April 28, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. A special 2-hour show with Iyanla Vanzant. We're talking about the issue of Black men, Black women, and domestic violence. Nearly 200 people have lost their lives this year due to domestic violence. We've talked about in the last couple of weeks a number of major cases all across the country involving African Americans. We're going to walk through a variety of issues, how emotional we are, mental health, you name it, we're going to talk about it, because if we do not confront what's going on, we're going to continue seeing more and more and more of these cases, whether they end in murder or whether or not it is women who are being beaten by their partners, by their husbands. Folks, it is time to bring the funk. On Roland Martin Unfiltered on Black Star Network. Let's go.
Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
Folks, to understand what has been going on when it comes to this issue of domestic violence in the Black community, and let's be real clear, domestic violence impacts all communities, but we center African Americans. The last 60 days, this is a snapshot of some of these stories. April 19th, Shamar Elkins, a former National Guard member struggling with mental health problems and suicidal ideation, killed 7 of his children and their cousin in Shreveport, Louisiana. Dr. Serena Fairfax, killed by her estranged husband, former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. That was on April 16th. In Texas, Tynese Friday, shot and killed by her husband in front of their children after she filed for divorce on April 10th. Trinell Collins' son, Lee Collins III, killed her and her mother, Mary Major, on April 6th in Louisiana. Nancy Mateer Bowen's body was discovered in her Coral Springs, Florida home on April 1st, allegedly killed by her husband. He has now been charged with murder. She was vice mayor of that town. On March 1st, Precious Johnson was fatally shot by her husband while cradling their newborn baby in a hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. In Chicago, Barbara Deere was killed by her son on April 14th. 88-year-old Danielle Graves' body was found in Denise Graves' body was found in the basement of her Chicago home on April 7th. Her son, Kavon Works, is the suspect. In North Carolina, Pastor Tammy McCollum was killed by her husband on April 6th. We can go on and on and on. Mynika Scott, killed by her estranged husband in Georgia on April 1st. 23-year-old Ashante Allen's body found on April 16th in Houston, and a boyfriend charged with her murder. Devonta Curtis, beaten to death in a Chicago apartment by her boyfriend. That was April 5th. Tamika Kamwani, killed in New Jersey by her ex-fiance on March 27th. Victoria Alexander, a nurse in New Jersey, killed inside her workplace by her estranged husband on April 13th. Alonda Cuffey, a postal worker in Florida, killed by her stepfather on April 19th. Hundreds more women have been killed by someone who promised to love them. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been at least 159 cases of family annihilation or murder-suicide by gun so far in 2026. Nearly 20 people are physically abused per minute. More than 10 million people are abused every year. 1 out of 4 women and 1 out of 7 men experience domestic violence. Some 10 million children are witnesses to some form of domestic violence. We can go on and on with these stats. What does this say? It says that we have a significant problem in this country when it comes to anger, when it comes to resentment, when it comes to the issues that go on between couples. How do we deal with it? How do we control our anger? How do we deal with our past? How do we deal with PTSD, our trauma? How do we deal with all of those things? You throw in what's happening with the economy. Last year, more than 800,000 African Americans, men and women, losing their jobs. Now, the pressures of the economy also comes into play as well. And so we've been talking to a number of experts for the past couple of weeks, and we want to continue the conversation tonight with Iyanla Vanzant. Many people know her for her work on television on numerous shows, really delving into interpersonal relationships between men, women, and children. And she joins us here in our Black Star Network studio. So I'm going to walk right on over and begin our conversation. Iyanla, glad to have you here. Glad to be here. In our house. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Are we straight? Can y'all hear? We good? All right. Let's get right into this. It's a lot of places we can start. And what first jumps out is I've looked at the discussions of the last couple of weeks. And sisters against brothers, brothers against sisters. I had one, I'm gonna start this. We had a sister who hit me the day of, we did the initial story of what happened with the Fairfaxes in Virginia. And she said, this is on men. This is on men. Brothers got to deal with this. And I said, you're right. About 4 or 5 days later, she said, this is only going to work if men apologize to women. Brothers got to understand the pain that sisters are going through. And I said to her, I said, well, if there has to be a conversation, brothers have to acknowledge sisters' pain. Sisters got to acknowledge brothers' pain. I said, because both have to heal. No, they got to do it first. And I said to her, if it's going to be a pain Olympics, then we're never going to be able to have the conversations that we need to have.
Yeah. That is not a function of who. First of all, thank you for having me, Roland. I was really honored when you called me because, you know, I'm not talking about social media ticks and tacks. I'm talking about healing. And the one thing I want to say is throughout this country and everywhere, we're not taught how to heal. We just aren't.
Right.
We're taught, you know, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We're taught how to get a job. We're taught how to make other people happy, but we're not taught how to heal. And back to your opening comment, this thing about them against us and us against them, it's us, it's them, all of us are descendants of slaves. All of us carry a wound that has never been acknowledged. We carry grief that has never had a funeral. We carry sadness that was never given a name. And yet we try to function in this system, in this society that was really built to demoralize, diminish, dehumanize us. I need people to understand, and I know we have a hard time. Black men are not the enemy of black women. And black women are not the enemy of black men. But that is how it's been set up.
Right.
And that's how we seem to be stepping into it. But culturally, we are a communal people. I was thinking about this today as I was driving. Our ancestors, they took care of each other, but not in a codependent way. If the brothers went out and they slaughtered a boar, that boar was cooked in a big pot in the middle of the village. So somebody slaughtered it, somebody skinned it, somebody, you know, opened it up. One family may have brought the greens, the tomatoes, the whatever they had. And that stew was cooked in the middle of the village and everybody got some. But it was the family that needed it that got the fur. And they didn't fight over it. Okay, they need the fur this time. That is what's in our DNA, in our blood, and we don't live like that anymore. We live againstness because that's what we are taught, and that's what's killing us.
Well, it's interesting as you were talking about that because I joke often. I grew up in Houston, 8 blocks from my grandparents. Every Sunday we were at their house. They had 8 kids. Those 8 kids had 39 kids. Those 39 kids had like 70 plus. Those 70 plus kids had like 120, 130. 1,500 square foot house. Everybody got fed. But the thing is, we were there every Sunday.
Yeah.
And when I think about now, when I go to LA and we get together and I have a dinner party, people are like, oh man, this is awesome. I was like, man, when you coming back? I said, y'all live here. Y'all can call each other. And I think what has happened is we now are so isolated that this idea of community has been so fractured, and we're now operating and living in silos. And when you talk about a lot of brothers, and I know a lot of brothers, they are silent, they don't talk. And what I've often said is you've got to create spaces where they can talk and trust among one another. Sisters are more likely to do that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we've been talking about even in the last couple of weeks, that you got to create an opportunity for somebody. If they are experiencing pain, they're going through something, and they're not trusting therapy, the starting process has to be, how can I communicate, commune, and get off, as we say, get it off of your chest, and now begin to work through whatever that is, because you can't deal with it in silence.
Well, again, it's I don't care who you are as a man of color. And I say man of color because I'm African American, Latin, and Native American. So I say man of color. I speak specifically to descendants of Africans. You know, our ancestors survived in the bottom of the ship, laying on top of each other. We got condos and townhouses, and we killing ourselves, you know? But unfortunately, the young people, they don't understand that history. But if you are a descendant of African, if you are a man of color, you've got to understand that in the fiber, in the fabric of this society, you are demeaned, diminished, dehumanized, and devalued. Just in the fibers of the society. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I know you're alpha and there's Q's, and some of us went to college. Well, I'm talking about your DNA. Mm-hmm. And then there are the inherited things, the inherited scripts, the inherited wounds that some of us are able to live above and beyond, and some of us aren't. If you are a man in this country, a black man in the United States of America, you carry a wound. Now, how you've mastered it, or denied it, or accommodated it, or tolerated it, eventually that wound, simply by your history, is going to come forward. Now, your wound is one thing. The harm you cause is something else. So we're looking at the harm that's being caused, and we are not really dealing with the wound. Because if you only deal with the behavior, if you only deal with the harm, then you're never going to be able to heal the wound. And where we are right now, with the wahala and the conflagration that's going on, we have to go to the wound. And most of our brothers, they don't have the language. They think they don't have the time. I love when people, I don't have the time. But when your butt get locked up, you do that time, don't you?
Right.
So, you know.
I thought about that when I was at my church in Dallas. They were doing free blood pressure checks. No, I'm good. Yeah. I don't have time. And I said, yeah, but you have a stroke. Trust me, you're going to slow down.
Right.
And you need to know right now.
Right.
And so that's a perfect example of, we say we don't have time, but you have to confront your stuff. Whether you're a man or a woman, you're going to have to confront your stuff. Otherwise, you're carrying that on, and it's going to come out.
Passing it on.
In any relation, it's going to come out.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You know, of course, men are taught, suck it up and move on. Don't show weakness. Don't ask for help.
Don't be a punk.
Don't be a punk. Oh, my goodness.
Don't even smile in photos.
You know? But what's happening now, Roland, is the world is shifting so fast that those old coping mechanisms aren't working anymore. And men, you know, all men, but particularly black men, we are, Lord have mercy, y'all are, they are. I say we because those are my brothers, and I'm a mother, you know, but we are, it's okay for black men to be aggressive in sports. In this, you know, don't let nobody punch you, don't let nobody punk you in the schoolyard. It's okay for that. But we don't teach them the balance. We don't teach them how to be vulnerable and safe. We don't teach them how to ask for help and not be judged. And all of that stuff in the way the world is speeding up.
And now you got cats, oh, you being sassy, you being feminine. That's feminine.
Yeah.
No, first of all, if you're showing vulnerability, that's actually a strength. That's not weakness.
No.
That's a strength.
But see, anger eventually becomes intimidation. Fear eventually becomes aggression. Sadness becomes withdrawal or isolation or escapism into anything. Now, we're talking about men, right? Are we gonna get to the women? Because all these men had a woman in their life that raised them. So we got to look at how we infected our sons, not from a place of heated judgment. And that's why we haven't been able to have the healing conversation. Because the minute you begin to speak to the issues as they are, people feel attacked or they feel judged and they go into meltdown. But we have been conditioned to accommodate dysfunction. Roland, I lived for 9 years in a marriage with a man that beat me every time the sun came up. And I stayed for 9 years telling myself that my kids needed a father. And it wasn't until my son explained to me, I'll tell you the situation. My husband was 6'4", 260, okay? On a good day, I'm 5'6". As I get older, I may be 5', 5.5". But he's explained, he wasn't grown when he shared with me a situation where my husband literally had me on the floor and was choking me. And I'm screaming to my son, he was the oldest, call the police, call the police. And my husband is saying to him, don't you move. So he's watching this man, wasn't his father, but he was raised as he was his father. He's watching this man who he considers his father, choking his mother on the floor. And she's gasping for air. Call the police, help me call the police. And this 6'4", 260 man, daddy, is saying, don't you move. My son grew up. I never processed that with him because I was busy processing my own being choked, okay? But that's what he grew up with. That's an unaddressed trauma. That's an unaddressed trauma. How many men saw that? How many men, young men today saw that or something similar? So we've been conditioned, programmed, expected to accommodate dysfunction and to silence our pain. Like I said, grief that never had a funeral. Never had it. And then to go out in the world and function. And make money for other people and make other people happy and please a woman and raise a kid and brush your teeth. So we're gonna find ways to escape. And we've got to learn. Here's the message that I have for men. You gotta learn to feel. And then name what you're feeling. Unfortunately, most men, black men, are emotionally illiterate. They know happy, they know sad, they know angry. They may know irritated. They don't know embarrassment. They may not know anxiety, frustration. They may not know elation or bliss. They have a very limited emotional vocabulary. So they know anger, they know it's bad or wrong, but when the nervous system becomes overwhelmed, you got Fairfax, a man who shoots 7 of his 8 babies. How does a father shoot a 3-year-old?
And what's interesting about that, when his mother was interviewed, she said, I told my son, you can get through this. You can beat this. and he said, paraphrasing, I think the demons are too strong.
Yeah.
He had spent a week in the VA hospital. And this is not judging her, but when she says, son, you can beat this, and she mentioned prayer, this is when I say, I understand prayer.
Yeah.
I believe in prayer.
Yeah.
I believe in God, believe in Jesus, but God also put people here.
Black therapists.
Have put experts here, and it's not enough to say to somebody, you can get through this. You can't get through something if you don't even know what the hell you even are trying to get through.
What are you feeling? What are you thinking? Where did it come from? Who knows how that trauma my son experienced at 9 has showed up in a variety of ways in his life? Who knows what this young man experienced in his childhood? Wasn't he in the war? Wasn't he a vet or something?
Well, he was in the military. He had not gone overseas, but his mother talked about when she was on crack.
Okay.
When she was a drug addict, and he was 16, and having to experience that. Now, with that, this is what I got from a lot of sisters. You're centering the man. You should be centering the woman and the kids. Roland, that's excuses. And so when I talked about mental health, it's like, that's excuses. And what I'm saying is, I'm not dismissing it. I'm not coddling anybody. I'm not offering an excuse. But in order for us to confront the issue, and because the desire is for women not to be killed, for children not to have to experience it.
But the desire is for
the
men not to
well.
do that.
Right. So if that's our desire and that's our goal, then we have to sit down and go, okay, why is this person so mad and so angry? What are these demons? What did you experience? What do you, like, you literally have to deal with that. And I keep saying that if men commit 96% of all domestic violence, we have got to confront what is going on between the ears of these men.
Well, again, we live in a society that and the average day, well, first, let me just say this out loud, because we have been desensitized to the magnitude of mental imbalance, mental health issues, because we're looking at it every single day and calling it something else. The leader of the free world has a diminished mental capacity. And we are going along every single day acting like this is what we are seeing is normal. We do the same thing when we know Uncle Bubba drink too much, or when Cousin Freddie is nodding off. We have been desensitized to even see or address. Sometimes we don't have the language. Sometimes we don't have the tools. Sometimes, you know, do y'all see Uncle Bubba peeing in the flower pot? Are we gonna say anything? Do y'all not see that the leader of the free world has diminished mental capacity, and that people have joined in his story that he's the most brilliant person on the planet?
Right.
And what do you do with that inside of you when you're looking at this and saying, this is crazy as hell?
But also the spectrum. So and again, this is having the experts on. Mental illness is on the end of the spectrum.
Right.
When you talk about schizophrenia, suicide ideation, when you talk about paranoia, all those things, anxiety, that's on this end. So
there's a whole spectrum.
I've never even said, no, this is mental illness.
Right.
What I've said is, this is mental health
issues.
Because I just fundamentally, you are an unhealthy person if your reaction to something that your wife or girlfriend did is to puncture. That's here. That's whatever you've been learned, taught, whatever, that's here. And if I'm trying to stop that from escalating, I'm gonna have to get inside of this to say, bruh, I need to why did...
But he may not know, Roland. This is
right.
He may
not know, but the only way we're gonna get to that, it has to be drawn out of him in therapy or whatever. Otherwise, if he's just walking around like, I don't know, he's gonna be a loose cannon.
Well, that's why we are each, I was so grateful, really, that you were asking these questions, because part of it is we each, Roland, you, me, everybody listening, watching, has to begin to take responsibility for their own internal well-being. We seem to abdicate that responsibility, and we think that happy flowers, that's what I call marijuana, happy flowers or liquor or drinking or shopping or watching, binging TV, people dating computers. Spiritual hygiene. We have to take responsibility for our own inner well-being. We are looking at people leading this country and telling us stuff that we can't trust, that we don't know where it's taking us. We don't know when they're going to turn on us. You know the number of people right here in the DMV that lost jobs? Good government jobs? Where are they now? And now what money they have, they're spending on gas. You got to learn how to emotionally regulate.
Right.
Period. Everybody, you, me, whatever.
And that is learned.
Learned.
That
has to be taught.
You ain't just born with it.
Right.
You're just not born with. Look, I use this example, and again, I tell people this when I first got married. My wife washed something of mine and it shrunk. I was like, why? I said, this is not worth an argument. I said, if you have the desire, because I had stacks of clothes all over, if you have the desire to wash something, all I ask you to do is pick up one item in this pile and look at that label.
Look at the tag.
I said, that's all. I said, now, I don't need you to wash. I will wash. The whole point there was,
you had to regulate.
It could have been an argument. That one thing, because the clothes shrunk.
Yeah.
She's like, you got these special clothes. You got hot and warm and cold, because that's how mom and dad taught us how to wash clothes. But that was a situation where I said, well, this is not worth an argument. Here's a solution to the problem, so it don't happen again. But that's regulating one's emotion.
Yeah. But if you don't even know what you feel, we have to be taught. And we have to make it a priority. We have to make our inner well-being, our spiritual hygiene, our mental balance, our emotional regulation, we have to make it a priority, because this system, this society will lock you up rather than lift you up.
But also recognize that in that moment, when it's about to come out, who's around? If children are around, they are now hearing and seeing. They're now modeling. And so the whole point about emotional regulation now means how I handle the situation is going to be providing a real life lesson as they are watching. And then the other thing is this here. If I just go off, how is she receiving me going off? So I got to now factor in. So here I'm highly emotional, angry. She's now apprehensive, anxious, frightened. The kids are now, so now all of a sudden, one situation now has just blown up. And if you're the individual who can control yourself, you now change and dictate how none of these things now, like I call it just the cascading effect, happens, because in the moment you caught yourself, you stop yourself, say, is it that important? But these are the things when I look at these stories, and I say, and this person here who, because again, the end spectrum is someone who kills their spouse, kills their girlfriend, kills their mother. Right, the case in Cook County. And this young man apparently still was reeling from the death of his father 2 years earlier, who was a Cook County commissioner, and dealing with that. And so we have to confront these things, because if we need to stop also lying to ourselves. We're seeing it. We're seeing that uncle, to your point, at the family gathering who goes off. Everybody like, oh, don't say nothing. Or we'll say look, we ain't trying to get in their business. No. Because their business might come back to our doorstep.
Yeah. But see, that's communal thinking. And we've indoctrinated ourselves into this broader society, which is I, me. And that's communal thinking. You know, my personal motto is secure the children first. I don't care what you rusty butt adults are doing. Secure the children first. That's why I'm 73 raising an 8-year-old. Okay, my great-grandson, because it was secure the children first. And the others couldn't do it. I wasn't going to sit by and let him become another part of the system.
Secure the children first also through a spiritual lens means I can stop a generational curse.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if that's not addressed, now all of a sudden that child now may emulate 20, 30 years down the road.
Absolutely, but do you know how many people have inherited the wound, inherited the break, inherited the curse, and we're taught and trained to accommodate it, to tolerate it, to call it something else. I think one of the things that, and I'm going to talk about black women in just a moment, but I think one of the diseases that's spreading among black men that we really have to address is hopelessness. Because I've talked to a lot of brothers, and they say it's like, no matter how hard I try, I'm not getting ahead. No matter what I do, it's never enough, it's never right. And they're talking about both in the world and at home. At home. I'm not appreciated, you know, and everybody's not college bound. And there's no, you know, there used to be dignity in being a garbage man, a sanitation worker. Don't look and nobody will know it's yours. Being a sanitation worker or being a mailman.
Okay, can somebody tell me what this music is playing?
That is my phone.
That's your phone? I'm like, what is... Oh.
It's in my purse. This is live TV, y'all.
Like...
I'm sorry. Get it out my purse and tell you. I thought I had turned it off. And see how we were getting ready to act like it wasn't going on?
Like, I was trying, like, is that going to end? Is something happening? Well, all right, go ahead.
That's Uncle Bubba peeing in the plant. We acting like it's not going on.
I'm like, is that thing going to shut down?
But hopelessness. So many brothers are hopeless. And when that happens, they don't have anything to lose. So they'll just go there, go off the deep end. And the way that we got to support them in addressing, acknowledging, feeling the hopelessness is to begin to give them tools and opportunities and a safe place for them to be vulnerable, to be wounded. Where is a safe place for the average black man to be wounded, broken, vulnerable? Where is that? Women, because we hunt and gather, we come together and we gonna get you straight. He left you, let's all beat him. You know?
Right.
Or let's go shopping, or we have a different culture, a different community among us. But what has also happened for us is black women have been taught to love deeply, to love loyally, and to love sacrificially. We will sacrifice ourselves for the love of our partner, our family, our children. And in doing so, very often, we sacrifice what we know, what we feel, what we sense, and we won't speak to the phone ringing in the middle of the live TV show.
When you talked about how women gather, and this was one of the first things we talked about. We had two male psychologists on, and we challenged men. We said that what can't happen, what you can't have is a group of guys who get together, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they don't talk.
Yeah. Or
they
talk
don't
about
share.
Ball.
It's always playing. And I've told this story many times. That was it was a church men's retreat, and I had a work retreat that Friday, and the men's retreat was Friday, Saturday. It ended Sunday morning. And so I go on Saturday, and when I arrived around 4 o'clock, where's everybody at? Oh, games, fishing, doing whatever. Okay, all right. Okay. So then it was time to eat. Then there was a service that was around 7 o'clock. Okay. About an hour into this service, I see them bringing out trays of food, and stuff behind me. I go, yo, what the, oh, yeah, so we probably gonna be done with this in about 30 minutes. And so then we got Domino's cards and television. I said, I'm sorry. Y'all had a whole day of games and outdoor activities. And they came back and we gonna spend 90 minutes on stuff and then it's back to games. I said, nah, this ain't gonna work. And so I stood up and I said, I don't know. I said to the organizers, I don't mean no disrespect, but I know cats in right now who marriages are about to be over. I know some of the stuff. I said, and y'all literally are not going to deal with this. I said, you've had women who have paid for you to come here. You've had mothers and wives and aunts and I said, and you gonna come here to play games and go back the same way. I said, and I never even took it in my room. I went back home. Mm-hmm. I was so ticked. And so what I was trying to say then, and what I even say now is, what men cannot do. When I hear women say we need men to hold each other accountable, that means that men are going to have to also learn
they have to
how to get your friend to open up so you can understand what they're dealing with. So it's not y'all getting together, drinking, watching the game, playing ball, because he needs somebody to talk to, and it's not always, yo, I'm good.
So that's why I created this.
All right, what's that?
Spiritual Hygiene for Black Men, the healing worksheet, the wound versus the behavior. I was up Sunday night praying all night long. So
now we have the link. Go ahead and pull it up, y'all. Pull it up. Go ahead.
Here's a question. What is the wound I carry? Let's just start there. What is the wound I carry? There may be 10 of them. There may be one. And you don't move until you can name that thing. Because you won't know what you're dealing with. You won't know what you're looking at. You won't even know what kind of help you need until you can identify the wound that you carry. Everybody carries one. I got one, you got one. How we manage it, how we've addressed it, how we've dealt with it, or how we've accommodated it, tolerated it, denied it, ignored it, and then shot somebody or did, 7.5 to 15. Or we smoking more happy flowers than we eating grits. What is the wound you carry? Every black man, write that down, or come get the sheet. And then you gotta identify, where did it come from? Some of it is inherited. Can you hear me? I inherited some stuff from my birth mother, whom I never met. She died when I was 2. But there's some stuff that I inherited from her, and one of them was remaining loyal to people who treat me badly. My mother was a car cleaner on the Pennsylvania Railroad in the 1920s. Do you know how people treated her? A black woman cleaning the train that black people couldn't even ride. Do you know how people treated her? She died when I was 2. But one of my wounds was remaining loyal to people who treat me badly, which is why I stayed 9 years in a marriage with a man who beat me. And
that's why for men, you have to understand what patriarchy is, what misogyny is, this belief that you control, that is, again, that could be from your grandfather, from your father, from your uncle.
Question number 3. What was I taught about being a man and control? What was I taught about being a man and expressing emotion? And I did this so that brothers have a direction. Because, we're saying you got to heal. They don't even know where to sit down and do.
That's a phrase.
That's right.
That's a phrase.
You like to do this, get on your computer, take a breath, light some incense, smoke your happy flowers. That's what you do. Get your wine, whatever. But at least give yourself permission to ask yourself the question. Who's ever asked, what were you taught about being a man and expressing emotion?
Right, and what does that actually mean?
Yes.
What to you, what does being a man mean? What does it mean? And that's and that is the thing, because again, if we don't equip people, I'm just, I'm like, guys, you have to equip people with stuff, tools, to know how to walk
skills, language, that we're not equipped. So
when you don't know, you don't know.
Right. But we have to stop acting like it doesn't matter. Here's another thing that I really want us to work on as good spiritual hygiene. You know, I've noticed this thing that happened, I don't know, maybe in the last 5, 10 years. Everything is generalized to black men and black women. Black women are this, black men are that. Black men don't do this, black women. And what happens is that generalization becomes your identity. So you're a black woman, and somebody is saying something about black women, and if it doesn't apply to you, you dismiss the whole thing as a. When the messenger becomes the enemy, you will miss the message. Can you hear me?
Somebody will say something, I'm like, I don't know. It don't apply to me.
So we've taken on this. I really want to encourage us not to do that, because then we make the messenger the enemy, black men or black women, and we miss the message. And sometimes the message is, I listen to these things and I said, well, that's not an issue for me, but I'm glad to be aware of it. So when I see it as a woman, I can pull another woman up.
Right.
Or if I see it as a man, I can pull another man up, you know, or pull a brother up, offer him something. Not in his face correcting him, but offer him something. I think it's so funny because women frequently say that I'm much harder on women than I am on men. And that's really not true. It's just that I know how to work a man. See, I can be in another woman's face because I am a woman. We can stand nipple to nipple, navel to navel. I can't do that with no man. But women think that it's okay for them to jump up in a man's face and point his finger. Listen, if Kevin Hart, love Kevin, if Kevin Hart were to roll up on Shaq and start antagonizing him, poking him in the penis, or Mr. Lee and Miss Nancy, take Mr. Lee his dinner. Ask Miss Nancy if she would do, what? As a sign of respect. As a sign of respect. When the family came together on Saturday, the men folk went downstairs, the women folk were upstairs. They were drinking their brown liquor out teacups. And that's how I learned a lot of stuff. I learned what to say, how to say. And today, women think that our way of being in our women business is being submissive or less than men. No, you just got to know how to work it. So I can get men to tell me anything because I don't threaten them. I don't judge them. I don't, you know. I had a man pull up at me. I go to the river every morning to pray. This guy pulled up and saw, oh, Miss Man, went away, came back, pulled up beside me. I talked to that brother for 2 hours at the river. You know why? In that moment, I had to be a safe place for him to fall because he was hopeless. And he said, do you have any books in the back of your car? I don't ride around with no books, boy. What's wrong with you? 2 hours, he told me his whole life story. And I just had to be present.
I want to go back to what you just said, a sister who jumps up and gets in a man's face. I still go back to what we talked about before, emotional regulation.
Yes.
And
on both sides.
And that's what I want to segue into, because when we're talking about these dynamics, and we're talking about men and women, and we're talking about anger, and we're talking about something that ticks us off.
But sometimes, Roland, it's fear. Sometimes it's shame. Sometimes it's guilt. Sometimes it's embarrassment. But when we don't regulate, all of those things will spill forth in the same way.
Right. And the thing, what jumps out at me, I just keep going back to, my goal is to avoid the murder-suicide. The goal is to avoid the murder. The goal is to avoid the beating. The goal is to avoid the verbal abuse. And if and the goal is to actually be happy, healthy, whole. And even if you don't work out, even if you don't get divorced, it doesn't turn into War of the Roses. It doesn't turn into I want to destroy you. All of that still goes back to, how do I handle loss, disappointment, hurt, pain, and lashing out at that person simply is not the answer.
But if you've got triggers inside of you attached to rejection and abandonment, your wife of 16 years leaving you is going to trigger you. Your husband of 23 years choosing somebody else, if you've got wounds inside of worthlessness or not enoughness or not good enough, and he's leaving you for Tamika, that's going to trigger up.
You scared of being, you were poor, you're scared of being poor again, so losing your money,
That's
trigger.
why I say it is important for everybody to do this spiritual hygiene, to do your work. What is the wound you're carrying? And what were you taught? What is the language that you use to clean that up? Yes, I believe in God, but God can only help you if you ask for help.
Right.
You know, God wants you to bring him or her or whatever you believe God is.
The example I use is when Jesus walked across water and Peter followed him. When Peter stopped believing, he started drowning.
Right.
I said, well, you actually read it, Jesus stuck his hand out.
That's right. Peter didn't take it.
No, he didn't stick his hand in.
Right. Right.
If he had stuck his hand in the water, he could have pulled Peter out.
Right.
No, he stuck his hand out.
That's
which
right.
meant Peter had to stick his hand out.
Right.
So we got to also do some work. You talked about the worksheet for men.
Man, I got one for women too.
What's the difference between the two? So let's talk about the worksheet for women that you want them, the questions you want them to ask themselves.
Based on what we talked about, based on what's going on, based on my little man at the river, based on this message of hopelessness that I've been getting from brothers. And, you know, we can talk about anger and fear and violence, but the hopelessness, when a brother's hopeless, when a person's hopeless, they have nothing to lose. I think that's what happened in Virginia. I think that's what happened with the man who shot his babies. I don't really know. I could be wrong. For men, the question is the wound that I carry versus the harm that I cause. I have to take responsibility for both. I have to take responsibility to heal the wound, and I must take responsibility for the wound, the harm that I cause. They're not the same, and they both deserve space to be examined, explored, and healed, but you have to take responsibility for both. For Black women, my encouragement is to love without losing yourself. And one of the reasons we are struggling so much, and I have to say, you know, to our credit, I would say when it comes to spiritual growth and healing and development, Black women are probably about 15 years ahead of Black men. Because we've been doing the workshops and the classes and the self-care beyond the nails.
I say it all the time.
Yeah,
I say it all the time when women, and again, as somebody who's gone to men's conferences, church and and secular, women's conferences, I look at the agenda.
Yeah.
That's a real agenda.
Business, right.
I've gone to men's conferences and I'm like, this light.
Right.
And I have said all the time, sisters are putting in a level of work that is not commensurate to brothers, and this is even in Black male organizations.
Yeah, yeah. And why are we still getting beat, killed, left, raped, all of that stuff? Because we overgive. Again, we've been taught to love loyally, to love deeply, to love sacrificially. So we overgive, we over-explain, we over-excuse, and we overextend. And very often, and as a mother, I can see the places where I'm guilty of this. Instead of giving him the space to do it, whether he falls or messes up or drops out, rather than giving him the space to do it, I jump in and do it for him. I've done it. Or I excuse why he didn't do it. And so we have to stop that. So our thing is loving them or him without losing yourself. We have to learn how to stand with him, encourage him, offer our presence, and hold space, and keep our hands in our pocket and our mouth shut. Don't put him down. Don't judge him. I can't tell you the number of brothers who say to me, no matter what I do, it ain't right, it ain't enough, and it ain't appreciated. All over the world. And I'll speak for myself as a mother, as a partner, as a wife. You know, sometimes I'm either afraid he can't do it or he won't do it. But to delude myself like we do as we watch the news every day, I'll jump in and do it for him, or I'll excuse why he didn't do it. And sometimes I just don't respect him enough to give him the space to do it the way he needs to do it. You know, and I have to check that. Let me tell you how I got clear about men. Sitting around many, many years ago, maybe 40 years ago, sitting around the table, a bunch of us, I don't know, on a Saturday, I don't know what we were doing groceries or whatever. And I heard myself say, men are so stupid. No, I didn't say it, somebody said it, and I in myself, I'm agreeing, yeah. And then I said, wait a minute, hold up. Does that mean my father's stupid? Is my son stupid? Is my brother stupid? What about my grandson? Is he stupid? And I had to really check myself. What are you saying and why are you saying that? Not to just get into the fray of men are stupid because they do this or that. Men are different. They're different. Their purpose is different. Their value is different. That doesn't make them bad or wrong. We're different. And that, from that moment on, Roland, I really started to check at myself and explore myself and look at what I had inherited. One of the things that I had inherited from the women in my life were very low expectations of men. I had low expectations of them, but I wanted to be with them. So I excused and accommodated the things that they didn't have and believed I couldn't get it, as opposed to seeing him, having great expectation and calling him higher. I didn't know how to do that. I had to learn how to do that. So we have to learn how to love you without losing ourselves and without holding you to a standard of less than, just enough. No. Come on, brother. You got to get up. You got to do better than that.
Also, I think it's also a question of when somebody reveals something, believe it.
Yes.
Don't look, a red flag is a red flag.
Yeah.
Okay? If you get to a red light, you're supposed to stop.
Right.
You ain't supposed to cruise. It's not green. You're supposed to stop.
But we inherited that too, staying long beyond is necessary or productive. We inherited that too. But standards were different back then. Grandma would stay, auntie would stay. Standards were different back then, and they still had expectations of their men. They still had expectations, and he may have had a woman cross town, but he was bringing her the check. You understand? And so again, for usins, hear me, Roland, for usins, and I love the way you love us. I've known you how many years, and I know you as a journalist, I know you as a editorial speaker, and I know you love us. I love the way you love us. I don't agree with you all the time. I mean, how many times I tell you, Roland, behave yourself? But I love you have the space, and I want to give you the space without making you wrong, without beating you. Nobody, don't come to me and talk to me about Roland Martin. You can't talk to me about Roland Martin, Tavis Smiley. You couldn't talk to me about Bernard Shaw, Ed Bradley. You understand? No. Cornel West, because I know how you love us. Now, if we got an issue, I'm coming to you. I'm not getting online. Roland, that's not who we are. That's not my grandmother. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Where did we get this thing of getting online and tearing each other down? What is that? So, another spiritual component of this is our very own ancestors in our DNA are rebelling against us because we are out of order. We are misbehaving. We got bad spiritual hygiene. Bad. And so our own inner dysfunction is becoming more and more pronounced because we're being called to heal. Called to heal. And some of it means go back to basics. Shut up. Stay your behind off. When I saw some of the things that people were saying online, that's when I had to go do my research. So here's the first question for women, all you women out there watching. What am I thinking about my current relationship with the men in my life? See, men need to feel. Women need to get their thoughts and their feelings in alignment. What am I thinking about the current relationships with the men in my life, whether that's son, father, husband, lover, brother? Because if you do it anywhere, you do it everywhere. If you think your father's an asshole, you think the same thing about your son, your brother, and your lover. We don't understand how the mind works, but that's how it works. So what else gonna do?
I brought up earlier, pain.
Yeah.
And a lot of sisters have talked about the pain, what they endure, what they go through. And I absolutely do believe that a lot of men, a lot of brothers, don't give that any thought whatsoever. Don't give it any thought. That was I'm gonna send y'all the link. I want y'all to pull it. Trevor Noah was on a podcast talking with this sister.
Yeah.
And the sister said, okay, so we're taught to carry mace. We're taught to not dress provocatively. We're taught. So she went through this whole line of things.
Yeah.
And she said, so we've been taught all these things to do. But she said, but when they gonna deal with the folk who
do it to
it's caused us that we have to do all this stuff.
Right.
So what she was saying is, these are all these things. I got to be careful how God speaks to me, because we've seen the cases where, a woman rejects a guy giving the phone number and he slaps her, shoots her, kills her, or whatever. And men have to recognize that that exists, and not just from the area of, if that happened to my sister, I'm gonna hurt somebody.
Right.
If it happened to my daughter, I'm gonna hurt somebody. Well, guess what? That other woman is somebody else's daughter.
Right.
It's somebody else's sister. So part of this is also, I do fundamentally believe, men having to sit down to understand what that sister also is going through. If both folk are going through pain and difficulty,
yeah,
I better understand. I just can't expect her to understand what mine is. I better have an understanding of what hers is too.
Well, when we go into relationship with somebody, we're not just going into who they are today. We're going into relationship with everything they've been through.
Right, yeah. There you go.
Everything they've been through, every experience, everything. And a man can't give you what he can't give himself. If he can't give him space to be his own self, space to be sad, to be vulnerable, to be whatever it is, how's he gonna offer that to you? This is why it's important that we each do our individual work. I can say this, I was physically, sexually abused as a child. I was neglected. I wasn't raised. I just kind of grew up in the environment. I got my first job when I was 13, and my father used to come on my payday to pick me up from work and take my money and give me just enough money to get back to work. When I told my brother, I had an older brother, when I told my brother that my husband was beating me and I needed, you know what he said? What you want me to do about it? When I told my father that, I said, please come talk to him. Come talk to him. You know what my father said? You made your bed hard, you lie in it.
Wow.
So I learned real clear, okay, girlie, you need to get this together. At some point...
And that's not the reaction that a woman wants from the men in their lives,
no,
a brother and a daddy.
No.
That is not the reaction.
And see, one of the reasons that men, particularly in repetitive domestic violence, one of the reasons they do that is because they know she doesn't have anybody that he got to answer to.
There you go.
If he knew he had to answer to her brother or her daddy or her uncle, he would think twice. And if he's not answering it to them, either they're not around or she's not telling him. But my father told me, he said, you made your bed hard, you need to lie in it. So that facility, and it sounds bizarre, but it was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me. because it forced me to ask the question, why are you here? How long are you going to do this? But the wound, remaining loyal to people who treat me badly. You see, all of this stuff is linked up together, and nobody could tell me, Roland. I had to get that from within myself. Whether you get it within yourself through therapy or get it within yourself through prayer, meditation, or pastoral counseling, but it's got to come up, and you got to see it in its ugliness, and you got to own it, and then choose what you're going to do about it.
So how do we, and when I say we, I'm meaning friend, fraternity brother, sorority sister, church member, I don't care what it is. If the conversation is being had and that sister is revealing that I am dealing with verbal abuse, I'm dealing with physical abuse, how do we tell them to leave?
Well,
because a lot of people don't even same thing. Like, it's real. I've seen all these posts on social media.
Yeah.
She gotta go.
Can't.
And it's easy to type that in a tweet.
Yeah.
Or on Threads.
Yeah.
It's a completely different conversation when it's in real life.
Yeah. And this is what I learned, and I'm sure many women who left have learned it. You will not learn until it hurts bad enough. It didn't hurt bad enough when he broke my jaw and I was 6 months pregnant. That didn't hurt bad enough. It didn't hurt bad enough when he hit me with the bed slat and broke my ribs. That didn't hurt bad enough. What hurt me bad enough was when literally the Holy Spirit woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning and said, if you don't leave here, he's going to kill you. And I said, my kids cannot grow up without a mother. It was not one of the beatings, not one of the slappings, not one of any of that. You're not going to leave until it hurts bad enough. What you have to let her know, or him, because Roland, there are brothers that are being abused by women in their homes. You have to let them know, first of all, you are a safe place for them to come to.
Yeah, that was...
Sometimes they just need a place to come. The other thing you have to let them know, you can't just come here and complain. You can't just come here and whine. If you come here, when you come here, I want to be here for you, but we've got to make a choice to do something different. We got to have an exit plan. If you don't have an exit plan, I'll keep you safe for the night or the day, but I don't want to hear it anymore. Because as long as they can come and whine and complain, that can go on for 5, 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I experienced that, again, to your point, when my sister said enough is enough.
Yeah.
And we knew there were issues. I could not make her leave.
Yeah, no, she won't.
But the whole point was, when you ready to leave, because I couldn't stand his ass, the first day I met him, like literally when I met him, could not stand his ass.
Yeah.
But the whole deal was, when you're ready, just say when.
Yeah.
And then when that day came, extracted from her apartment, my brother and his wife, meet halfway between Dallas and Houston, her and her 2 kids, 5 and 2, come to my house, just backpacks on them, and that was 24 years ago.
It hurt bad enough. She was ready to go.
And the thing is, and I put the question that way because, again, I'm seeing the responses from people.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get folk to understand we are making comments in hindsight and not in real time.
Yeah.
And not understanding that there are dynamics, that there are financial dynamics. There are people who still, through the pain, through the agony, through all that, still love each other.
Yeah.
The connection with how the children are used in the tug of war as well.
All of that.
And so it's not as simple for us to say now, look, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go, because I'm not in that person's shoes. But I do believe that we, men and women, always have to be paying enough attention.
Yeah.
Where we also are seeing the signs. We're seeing the change in her behavior. We're seeing the change in her pattern, how she's looking over her shoulders, and where she might be at the house and he's texting and calling 6, 8, 10 times, dating like a stalker. That's where we have to be equipped to be able ask him things, which is why also going back to the worksheet, because I got to be able to convey something to you.
Yeah.
For you to let me know what's going on
But
and the pain you're dealing.
staying is a mental health issue also. I didn't know that when I stayed. Like I said, my wound was remaining loyal to people who treat me badly. I needed help with that. And also not knowing how to ask for help. I didn't know how to ask for help. When I finally did ask for help, it was rejected. And then I was left with, I have to figure this out on my own. Unfortunately, I didn't trust myself enough to think I could until literally divine intervention. I left with nothing. My 3 babies, 3 bags, and I left with nothing. I had a mental health issue. I needed support. I needed guidance. I grew up in it,
So the
it
point
was
there
familiar.
is, we're talking about the person that commits the violent act has a mental health issue.
And the person that stays has one.
Yeah,
It's the wound. And, you know, people will hear that, ain't nothing wrong. Listen, stop it. Yeah. For you, a divine, unique creation of the Most High God, to allow somebody to demoralize you, physically abuse you, that's not natural. For me, it was normal because I grew up in it, but it wasn't natural. I didn't know that I needed help. I needed help. I needed help. Now, thank God, I had a tight circle of women and elders, elders who I eventually went to and they helped me. But again, I had to clean it up in here. And here was one of the most powerful things. I didn't have to stop loving him, but I had to get the hell away from him.
Absolutely.
I had to separate those stuff. I thought loving him meant I had to stay. That's why the worksheet for women is loving him without losing you. I didn't have to stop loving him because as long as I was in my sickness of unworthiness and not enoughness and not good enoughness, as long as I was in that sickness of that mental health issue, I thought that because I loved him, I had to stay, and because he loved me, it was okay for him to treat me poorly. That's sick, Roland. And I needed help. And so when we talk about, you know, the psychosis and the schizophrenia on this end, and depression and stress and anxiety on that end, but there's a whole gamut in between, and you can fall anywhere in that spectrum. And remember, mental health could be emotional deregulation. It could be PTSD. You know how many children have PTSD from neglect? That they were neglected as children.
It happened twice. I was cutting the grass, and I'm loud. I think I may have had headphones on. And my oldest niece, this is one of the two who came with my sister, I turn around, and she's literally in the yard screaming and yelling and like just in tears. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I was just cutting the grass. And so what happened was her dad would often leave her in the house by herself. And he's outside with friends, and she wakes up not knowing who the hell is here, if anybody is here. And she just lost it. And I was like, Uncle Roro's here.
Yeah, yeah.
You're safe.
Right.
Baby, I'm just cutting the grass.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay, so she was in the house and woke up, you weren't there.
No one was like, so she woke up in this empty house.
Yeah.
And I was just outside cutting the grass.
Yeah.
And again, I turned around. I don't know why. I'm like, why is she losing it to that point?
Yeah.
That was previous
trigger.
trauma.
Right.
And so part of that was, and I'm talking about, so part of them coming to my home also was us having to help put them back together.
Yeah, reprogram.
And also model behavior, model all of that in order to put them on the right path moving forward.
Now, let me ask you a question. Just that abandonment or whatever that was for her got triggered up. Do you realize that had you not been there, she would have had to regulate that herself. And she may have stuffed it or suppressed it or called it something else. And let's say a parent came home, not you, but somebody came home, and she tried to tell them. They didn't have time to hear it. They're busy. Go sit down. Go watch your TV. Go do. So by the time she's 16 now and cutting somebody in the high school, and they think she's a bad kid, but they don't even understand that it's PTSD, that it's trauma from abuse as a child, neglect as a child. Do you know how many caused by poverty? Poverty, Roland. Food insecurity. And who did they talk to about that? And then they grow up, and you want to know why they're robbing a bank or stealing things or taking paper clips from the job, and you lock them up, because we now live in a law and punishment society, not law and order. I love law and order. But we live in a law and punishment or revenge and punishment society. So many of us, the wound, we are walking around wounded.
And see, we keep talking about this issue of domestic violence through the prism of men and women.
No, right.
But there is a component there to that child who had to witness it. That child who now, you talk about those 9 years, your son, okay, him being frightened of that particular person. So now
and in the house with him every day eating dinner.
There you go. And also the flip side of, you are suffering through this physical calamity, but what happens when that child actually never sees it, but they see that person as their hero?
Right.
And so now all of a sudden, when you like, we got to get the hell out of here.
Right.
You now got to deal with the child going, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
That's daddy. I love daddy. You like, no, we got to go. You have to now address. So now child may be trying to blame you for leaving, when it's kind of like, no. We had to leave because I may have ended up dead.
Right.
So,
but that's why communication is so important. And that's another dysfunction we have. We deny, we avoid, we don't call a thing, we hide things. It's good for children to see conflict resolution. One of the reasons that murder and the things happen is because we're not teaching our children conflict resolution. They either see the big fight and the argument that never then gets discussed, or they don't see anything at all. We're hissing in the closet or hiding in the basement. It's a good thing for them to see difficulty and have it resolved and have the conversation and to speak about it. Many of our children today, many of the young people, oh my God, the Gen Zs, emotionally illiterate. Because they grew up watching the back of somebody's head or with headphones on, eating dinner out of styrofoam box or working on these things. They are emotionally illiterate.
Totally isolated.
That's not a bad thing. I'm not calling them names because my generation failed them. You know, the generation under me failed them because we were so busy getting and doing and that we didn't have the conversation.
Well, that's why whenever, because we raised 6 of my nieces, whenever they were in the car, I said, I would turn the music up so loud it would drown out their headphones, and I would explain to them, no, you gonna listen to what I want, what I'm going to play, because I need to expose you to different types of music.
Yeah.
And then of course what happened, like, hey, Uncle Roro, could you put that what was that Bill Withers? Could you put that Bill Withers song on my iPod? Again, when you're exposed. So that's the way I handle it.
Yeah, you have to.
But and again, I know somebody may be saying, okay, you joking about that, but no. We were very intentional with how we responded to my nieces, because we raised 6. 2 were from a sister who left because of domestic violence. But we were intentional, understanding what they went through. So this is what we're going to give you in order to try to repair as much as we can what you previously had dealt with.
Can I just offer you another consideration? This is how we're going to be with you so that you can repair that situation. This is how we're going to be around you.
Right. Presence.
And that is what is going to shift all of this. Black women, change your presence. Black men, change your presence. Because then emotional regulation, emotional safety, clear communication, presence makes all of that important. Right now, we're so busy doing. We don't know how to be.
I had somebody, I told a story once, and it was very interesting how the response was. I said, when I go home, I don't care what I'm doing, and I don't care where they're going. If you walk into my house, my brother's house, my sister's house, you're going to come speak to me, and it's going to be a hug. Because my grandparents were like this. Like, you ain't, and my grandma was like, no, you speak to me first. And I had some folk, well, you shouldn't be doing that because, and, it's people, they've had folks in their family and sexual. I said, hey, that ain't here. So you ain't projecting all that. I said, for me, I want my nieces and nephews to know they can be hugged, they can be loved.
Non-sexually.
Right, in terms of when I think I am, it's like, no, hey, Uncle Roro, hug, that you're not distant, because I need them to understand also, you're going through some stuff, you can pick the phone up, you can reach out, you can talk, you can, and that's the thing.
That's presence, Roland.
Right. But it's also being intentional with that, knowing full well what the whole dynamic is, and also just in being mindful in terms of what you see, and now also when girlfriends or boyfriends come around, that eagle eye, you sitting there going like,
listen,
you hear, it's like it's always you hear how he said this or whatever. To me, all of that is a part of the communal aspect of no, we're gonna keep everybody safe.
It's good spiritual hygiene. But now here's the piece that I think frightens people about what you're saying and having clear communication. I had a brother friend, you know him, well known, and I love him. I still do. And there was I witnessed some inappropriate, incorrect behavior in the world. And I checked him on it. Mm-hmm. I wrote him a letter, and I didn't make him wrong. This is what I saw. This is what it felt like. This is what I want to offer you. And he got highly insulted, hurt, highly insulted. And I haven't spoken to my friend now probably in 15 years. And I didn't stop loving him. And I gave him the space to be upset. What we have to know, what we have to recognize is that sometimes people are in their head without adult supervision, and in their ego with their self-righteousness. And if you try to check them, correct them, support their healing, they will turn on you. And I think one of the things that happens is, rather than challenge somebody, check somebody, offer somebody something different, we let them get away with bad behavior. We call it love. But what we're doing is we're watching them die. And over the years, in this 15 years, I've watched him blow up, fall apart, So we've got to be willing, hear me, in these situations to have people, to piss people off.
Oh, yeah. Also, I think we have to also, again, to your point, when you're present, or I always say you can be present, but you can have presence.
Right.
And that is, whether it's your brother, whether it's your sister, whatever, you're sitting here and you like, she need a break. Mm-hmm. He need a break.
Right.
Say, bro, let's go and no, man, no. Let's bounce. Let's just go here. Step away for 2-3 hours.
Yeah, even if it's to the park.
And because my whole point is, if you're mindful, you're watching them. You're paying attention. And this is the thing that I have been just saying for the last couple of weeks, where I need men to be paying a lot more attention
to each other.
Mood swings, shift. Why you so quiet? Why you so apprehensive? And understanding. You may be the person who needs to say, No. Come roll with me. We just going and it may end up like the guy at the park.
Yeah.
By the river with you.
Right.
Because you don't. Because what you've done is in that moment, whether you're a man or a woman, you become. I use the phrase. You become a first responder. You become an emotional release valve.
Yeah.
For that person who didn't even realize they needed it, but you just happened to say, I just sense, man, that stuff was just ticking you off. This is not normally how you are. Hey, what you dealing with? Talk to me. And it could be something dealing with the spouse. It could be something dealing with the kids.
Job,
it could be anything.
ED.
But you need yes, and
because that's a big thing right now among men.
Well,
and
again,
not talking about it.
There you go. And so you that person needs somebody.
But that person also has to take responsibility, and whether it's this worksheet or a journal or a class or something, meditation, rub a crystal on your left nipple, I don't care. We also have to accept responsibility for ourselves. Yes, and be more present.
Right.
And yes, show up for each other.
But if I don't know, as you said earlier, if I don't know that I even have a problem, if I don't even know what the wound is,
if somebody tells you, don't deny it.
But I need somebody who can help coax that out.
Yeah.
And that to me, if we're talking about confronting domestic violence
and mental health issues.
Yes. And that's identifying, and so it's empowering people. Because I think it's very easy and obviously a lot of people say, man, suck it up.
Yeah.
You punked out.
Right.
Oh, that man killed that woman. He's evil. He's a coward. Using all those different phrases. Yeah. And my whole deal is, what do we do to keep the person from becoming that next person?
And what do we do with the children that he left behind?
Yes.
And what do we do with his mother? And what do we do, His
mother and father, her mother and father.
Okay.
It's all cascading because the act of murder, suicide, the act of physical beating, again, it just flows down.
Yeah. It has a ripple effect. So here's a question for all the men watching. I got another one for you. What emotions do you avoid or struggle to express? What emotions?
Mm-hmm.
And an emotion is one word. It's not a thought. Well, I don't like to feel. No, that's not an emotion. What is the one emotion? And for the women, I want to ask you this. How are you showing up in your relationships? Are you the rescuer? Are you the leader? Are you the victim? Are you the martyr? How are you showing up in your relationships? Look at each and every one of them, because all of those behaviors eventually will get you to the wound of what you're trying to do. Roland, we just have to take responsibility. And yes, we have to help each other. But if we think help is coming from the government, the system, when I think of the 47,000 people in this area who've lost jobs, who have homes, kids in college, they don't have anybody to talk to. When I think about the kids, the children who are watching their parents work 2 and 3 jobs and then they're not home. When I can't tell you how many women that I know who were sexually violated and never got to tell their mother or anybody about it because they were busy, they were working, they were afraid. All of these things, plus what we inherited, plus the way the society. It's a wonder that we can spell our name and tie our shoes. It's a lot going on. And I say us. All people have their issues, but my heart is with us.
Right.
My heart is with us because our experience is different, but our power is different too.
Right.
Our tools are different too. I mean, when I think of you're an alpha, right?
Yep.
I think of what are y'all doing
Monday
about
was my 37th year.
Really?
Yep.
I know y'all just had a boule. My God.
Well, there was no national, so we've had regional conventions.
Yes.
Because our conventions every 2 years.
Yeah.
And General President called me, and there's some things that they're going to be announcing that they had signed a month or 2 ago. But this issue here, our Surgeon General of the fraternity, they had a mental health Zoom last week, and that's happening. That's one of the reasons why what I've called upon. I've said to all of these black male groups. I said, will you take alphas, kappas, omegas, sigmas, iotas? You take Sigma Pi Phi fraternity of the Boule. You take Prince Hall Mason. You take, I mean, there's so many different groups. And what I've said, the challenge to them is, let's not be so fixated on our internal business that we are not addressing what's happening here with the brothers who are in these organizations. And now let's take it outside of the organization to the community. This Thursday, we're going to be in Shreveport, Dr. Kevin Washington. He was in Shreveport the week before the shooting took place. And when the shooting took place on that Sunday, he hit me up because he was one of the doctors who was on the show that Thursday night after the Fairfax murder-suicide. And he said, I'm putting something together. He said, go back to Shreveport. I said, we'll broadcast it. So we'll be in Shreveport on Thursday. Y'all got the graphic, go ahead and pull it up, please. And we're gonna be there Thursday because the graphic of Shreveport, those brothers, because he's like, yo, we gotta address it. Because Louisiana is #2 in the country in domestic homicides.
That's right, domestic homicides.
And so you've got a community that is reeling from the actions of this man, killing 8 kids, shooting 2 other women, and he ends up being shot and killed by police. And so he said, we need to do something. I said, all right, we'll be there. And that's the thing. And I've said to other brothers in other parts of the country, I said, you don't have to wait. I said, you don't have to seek anybody's permission. I said, if you're an organization, if you're just a group of brothers, I said, you don't have to wait.
Right. Let me share this with you. In 2001, In the Meantime was published. And since 2001 till now, I've sold 6.7 million copies of In the Meantime. Finding Yourself in the Love You Want. In 1998, I wrote The Spirit of a Man, a vision for black men and the women who love them. 1998, I haven't even sold 10,000 copies of that book. And in 2005, I wrote Up From Here, a plan for the elevation of black men. I haven't even sold 6,000 copies of that book. But In the Meantime, I sold 6.7 million. So the thing is, we can't just talk about it. We got to do the work. And you have to make time to do the work. In the meantime, I mean, The Spirit of a Man was the book that grew out of that conversation that I had that men are stupid. I haven't sold 7,000 copies of a book that focuses on the spiritual healing and growth of black men, not 7,000. And Up From Here were personal stories and how these men got out of, haven't even sold 6,000 copies. So maybe now, and they don't have to be my book. Courtney B. Vance wrote a beautiful book called The Invisible Ache. Beautiful book.
The video that he posted just the other day was a really strong video, and I also need our people to understand that the algorithms of social media drives anger drives it.
Yes, fear, anger and fear.
It drives it.
Yeah.
And so so people don't even realize. Yeah. We're seeing our feeds flooded, not realizing that that's it's like the anger, the fighting, the back and forth. And when I look at the Courtney B. Vance post and others, I'm like, few comments. Right. Few comments. Because the algorithm is not trying to drive that.
And also, we're distracted by the depravity, you know, by the fighting, by the sexual innuendo. We're distracted by depravity because that's how this society keeps us devalued, demoralized, diminished, dehumanized. I see it on my social media. Right. Let me go somewhere with a celebrity, because America, you know, we do love idols. We would just, you know, I go somewhere with a celebrity, 200,000, 300,000 hits. I give a message, 12,000. So it's our responsibility.
Well, that's why I told literally I got a phone call from a brother who's a minister who, hey man, you should drop this conversation. You know, I don't want you to get canceled. and these sisters really upset, and just leave it alone. And another sister, very prominent activist, hit me and said, we need a beat. And I said, sister, you just told me 4 black women who have been murdered in the last 2 weeks. What am I giving a beat? Why would I wait? I said, if I could provide some information tonight, tomorrow, and the next day that somehow reaches somebody, that could prevent the next thing.
But are we willing? And are we willing to be?
Well, for me it was, first of all, I said I own the show, so I said I'm not asking permission, and I told them, no disrespect, I'm not doing what you're asking me to do. And what I need the people to understand, when I ran Tom Jones' BlackAmericanWeb.com, it didn't have a praise and worship channel.
No.
I created it. I said, you can't have a black website and you ain't got no praise and worship. Iyanla, I can't even remember what I wrote. So I wrote a column. It's probably one of the pieces that's in my book, Listen to the Spirit Within. So I write this column, and I get an email. Mm-hmm. Sister says, I listen to Tom Jones every day. I go to the website every day. But today, for the first time, I decided to go to the Praise and Worship channel. I was like, okay. And she says, and then I read what you wrote. I'm reading the email. I'm like, okay. And then she says, I need you to understand something. I had already committed to kill myself. She said, I picked how I was going to do it. I picked where I was going to do it. I picked when I was going to do it. She said, but now after reading what you wrote, I now realize that God has a plan for my life. Mm. And I've told that story, people are like, oh my God, that's amazing. I said, no. I said, you shouting on the wrong thing. I said, because if I was not obedient to him and didn't write what he put in my spirit to write, then it would have never been on the site for him to send her to read it at the appointed time.
She had to be obedient too. And,
right.
and
but
that's the
my
question.
job though is to write it. So my point is, I said, we're gonna do the segments.
Right.
We're gonna do the conversations. We're not giving it a beat because I don't know who's watching or listening.
Right.
And if we can provide people with real things, this, and again, I want
not because it's the end all be all, but it's something.
The books that you laid out, the books that others are laying out, what we cannot do is be in this moment being, and I'm going to say it purposely, this is not a moment to be performative.
No.
To just put somebody's photo.
That's right.
On your Instagram.
Right.
Or put a graphic up or say thoughts and prayers, oh my God, when will this end? No, this is a moment where it requires action.
Because see, even if this is not an issue for you, if you have never experienced domestic violence, you've never been raped, brutalized, whatever, you still got a wound. But as you do your work, you then become the Bible somebody else can read. You don't know who you're gonna bump into on the train. We all have to do our work, whatever it is. And everybody's not going to church, Roland. Everybody's not going to the temple. But everybody can be healthy. Everybody can be regulated. We all have to learn a new language. And we, as people of color, as descendants of Africans, we got to get back to our culture and begin to do things that resonate with Big Mama in our bones, that strike up, auntie in our system, and stop embracing so much of this craziness in this world that don't have nothing to do with us. When I see women jump across a table and throw drinks in each other's face,
oh my God, you can't.
That's not good behavior.
That's
not good.
First, just do understand something. I was in New York City for something, and I was like, well, everybody keep talking about this show. It was 2:00 in the morning. I was like, I'm in a hotel room. I'm not sleepy. 10 minutes. I said, this is what the people raving about. I said, they were by the pool yelling, hollering, and screaming about how you showed my charity deal and throwing wine. I was like, I can't. I said, I can't deal with this. I said, my brain can. I said, I can't. So I don't even. And this is people. When I had my TV One show and this one, I refuse to allow reality show folk on my show.
Well, I'm a reality show folk.
No. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Now, let me tell you what.
And I had a sister who was, I was out that day. And she was on one of them housewives show. And she was coming in town for this something else. I said, listen, she can come on the show to discuss this issue while she's in town. Y'all can't mention the show. And they were like, Roland, I said, you don't understand. I said, there are y'all, some of y'all say that's my entertainment. But it's a whole bunch of us, they are processing that in a whole different way. And I said, and I just can't be a participant.
Well, you know why I watch it? Let me tell you why I watch it. I watch it because I want to know what our young people are looking at. I want to know how our young people are thinking. I want to know how our young people are processing, so that should they come to me, I can meet them where they are. I have to meet them where they are. I can't try to pull them up or pull them down. I have to meet them where they are. I don't, and then because I can do that and be present with them, and I have to say, so tell me what is the thinking behind throwing liquor in somebody's face? But I get it from them. I don't understand it. I get it from them.
They come to me, I'm gonna send to you. I can't do it. Y'all, I told y'all we were gonna take your phone calls, and we wanted to set it up first. So put the number on the screen. First of all, I'm gonna show this. First of all, I'll pull it on. The number right there, y'all see 202-890-1199. 202-890-1199. If y'all have, some of y'all are like, hey, I wanted to ask Iyanla a question, here's your opportunity to do so. You can ask her a question. We will take your questions. Let me be real clear. No sermonettes, no speeches, no life stories. If y'all trying to pitch her a product, I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna let y'all know. So we're gonna have a question. And then she gonna answer your question, and then I'm going to the next person with a question, okay? So y'all know when I moderate events, that's why I hold the microphone. I don't hand it, because you're gonna never get it back. So we'll try to give us a call right now, 202-890-1199, 202-890-1199. Control room, put the name and the city of the person in is in Group Me, so I can see who the first person is. While we're waiting for them to pull, give me, I got it. Say your name and the city you're from, so we can have that. Now, before they give me that, now put the Shreveport graphic up. We will be in Shreveport on Thursday, y'all. Dr. Kevin Washington has organized this. It is a Black Men's Mental Health Forum, Mount Canaan Baptist Church, 1666 Alston Street in Shreveport. Addressing IPV, intimate partner violence, community gun violence, health and wellness, psycho-emotional integrity. Dr. Kevin Washington is a licensed African-centered psychologist, and so he is leading this. We will be broadcasting this on the Black Star Network, so I do the show from there on Thursday, and we'll be showing this as well, and he's doing 2 days worth of stuff. Beautiful. This is what we're doing on Thursday, and so we want y'all to check that out, and please do so. Joshua Dubois is having an event on Thursday as well. It's a Zoom call. I'll show that as well. He's calling a dad check-in, checking in with dads, and so we'll have that as well. All right, folks. Latasha, calling from Philadelphia. Latasha, what's your question for Iyanla Vanzant? You're on Roland Martin Unfiltered. This is what we're doing on Thursday. So, Latasha, first of all, I need you to do this here. Turn your program down because you have a delay. So whatever you're listening to, turn it down. Turn it all the way down. Now ask your question.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, next time maybe can you guys talk about what we'll be doing to further protect the children? I enjoyed tonight's program, and I noticed we talked about Black women and Black men, but I would hope going forward we can start prioritizing Black children. And that's it. Okay,
thanks for your call.
We got to take care of ourselves. We have to know that we're worthy enough. We can't give the children what we don't have. And thank you for your question, Latasha, And all of this is going to take time, you know. We have to get healthy before we can do anything for the children.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, if a woman is experiencing domestic violence, she wants to protect children.
Yeah.
That's naturally, she wants to protect those children. But to your point, if she's not there, you said it.
I'm telling my 10-year-old son to call the police. That is not his job. That was not his job. My job was to keep him away from a man who would treat his mother like that, and I failed.
Right. So our point, and she absolutely is right. I'm gonna say this again, and I'm keep saying this here. I want to keep, we don't have that. We don't give me the wide shot. We don't have that sign. That's not a phrase.
No, right.
That's not only applying to when cops are killing black people.
Right.
I don't want another sister murdered. I don't want another child murdered. I don't want another child, another sister beaten, another child to be the byproduct of that. And I don't want the brother beaten and the brother killing. So if we want to talk about Black Lives Matter, we have to get men, women, and men, because the reality is those children have nowhere to go because they found the leadership of one of those two.
These, the former lieutenant governor, both of his children in the house. That to me was clear hopelessness. And hear me, be on the lookout for it, beloveds. This is the rising dis-ease among black men is hopelessness. And understand that discussing that from that perspective or whatever perspective, it doesn't have to be either or. It has to be both and.
Right.
So it has to be men, women, and children. But we cannot ask ourselves to try to do something for the kids that we aren't even equipped to handle for ourselves.
Absolutely. Karen from Los Angeles. Karen, what's your question for Iyanla Vanzant?
Hi, Roland. Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah, so I totally get that. If we're not together, we can't offer anything to the children. But can we get out in our community, though, that if we're going to even begin to work with each other or whatever, we have to just, there has to be a line drawn. You cannot kill kids. I'm sorry.
But we do. But we do. What are you saying we can't? We do. So
do what?
Kill kids.
That's what I'm saying. Can we kind of get out in the community that we have to draw a line? Like, we cannot, that's not part of our culture, killing kids. This is something new.
But beloved,
beloved,
do you understand that when people are not in their right mind, you cannot expect them to be in their right mind?
Okay, so I see that as a kind of honestly, that may be true, Ms. Vanzant, but that's not an excuse to me.
Why do you hear that? Hello?
We have to
listen, beloved,
okay.
Because I hear that you have a point that you want to make. That's not an excuse, my love. It's the reality. So what you're saying, can we?
Okay.
We can't, but we do because we're not well. And we can't excuse it.
I can't accept that.
Okay, you don't have to.
I feel like, shooting and killing a 1-year-old while he's sleeping, nah, that's something that we need to say, look, you're going to be doing something. We need to get out in the community, in the channels, wherever we are in the country. We need to make an agreement. If I feel like I'm going to kill kids, I got to leave.
Karen. So
yes.
You're speaking about what took place in Shreveport, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm only going by what his brother said, and I'm only going by what his mama said. These were his family members. The VA told the New York Times that the brother spent a week in a VA hospital dealing with severe mental issues. The brother said, my brother loved his kids. If you look at the posting on Facebook, but if you also look at his Facebook postings, he talked about, God, please help me regulate my emotions. His own mother said that she talked to him and she said, son, you could beat this. And he said, Mama, the demons are too strong. The brother and the mother said they never thought at any time that the brother would kill 8 kids. So when you say we have to make an agreement, no one knows, no one literally knows that a person is going to wake up on a Sunday morning at around 6 a.m. and shoot and kill 8 kids. So this is what we're trying to say. Our goal is for that not to happen, which means that first, when that brother said to his mama that the demons are too strong, there should have been a massive follow me here.
Yeah.
Because again, no one knows what someone's action is. That should have been immediate family emergency. This brother is in a state that we don't know what's going to happen. But that did not happen. So what we're trying to do is deal with people what's happening here, deal with their wounds, so it doesn't lead to that. We don't know a brother's going. No one knew that Justin Fairfax was going to at midnight shoot his wife several times and then kill himself in another part of the house. No one did. It was a shock. No one knew that the brother who was married to the vice mayor in Florida was going to shoot and kill her. No one knew that the 23-year-old son was going to kill his 51-year-old mother in Cook County. So we can't predict that. What we can do is acknowledge we've got mental health issues. There are wounds. There are men and women who are hurting. And our job is to get as much information as possible to reach and touch and teach and empower and inform so it doesn't happen again. That's what our goal is. And you say it shouldn't happen, we agree. But as Iyanla said, it is happening. And we're trying to stop more of this from happening because it is very tragic.
So let me ask you a question, Karen. Are you still there, my love?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
What
still
are
here.
you feeling? What are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling anger, and I don't even have kids.
Okay. So you're angry about what, my love? What are you angry about?
I'm angry that we've got to this point where we're killing kids. To me, I think we're very selfish people. I'm just angry at us as a group. We don't think about the kids enough. We seem to be always thinking about ourselves. We don't think about the kids' well-being. I hear about all the sexual violence. I work in an after-school program, and it's just our girls are so depressed. They feel, rejected. And I just think we're not thinking about our kids enough, and I think it's our fault. We just, as an adult, as a black community, we're letting our kids down, and I'm just feeling angry. And like I said, I don't even have kids. I'm just sitting back watching this, and it just makes me angry. And we have a lot of excuses. That's number one. We have so much excuses. But yeah, we can, go get this expensive car. We can go buy all these expensive clothes or whatever. But we can't think about what's best for our kids. I'm tired of it. And we have so many excuses. And we watching our kids. Our girls are very depressed. They don't like themselves. They're all. We had like a circle with a bunch of teenage
Karen,
girls,
we want to get to. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to offer you
Yeah.
another possibility. I don't want to cut you off because I hear you and I thank you for sharing. Karen, do you know that at the polarity of anger is passion? Both of them have fire. Anger has a fire and passion has a fire. And what I hear you saying is that you have a passion for the children, a passion for our girls. I want to encourage you to find a way to take that passion and turn it into the very service that you see is needed. As opposed to sitting around in anger and judgment, how can you take that anger and push it all the way to the other end? Can you start a program for girls in after school, in your basement, in your kitchen? Can you have them come over every other week?
I already do work with the program. This is what I'm talking
all
about.
right. So then the anger is purposeless. You just holding the anger because it's draining your passion. I just want to encourage you.
There you go.
Take that anger and push it into that passion and meet every day. And meet in the basement and meet on the corner.
Absolutely. Karen, thanks for your phone call. Dr. King said that riots is the language of the unheard. And to your point, because that was somebody called a good friend of mine. I need to talk about your boy, what he's doing. And he said, this is the difference. And it was a sister who called him. He said, you're angry. You're upset. He said, Roland's angry and upset with what Justin did, but he's moving towards action to how can he help somebody else.
Right.
And that's what a lot of us right now are pissed and we're angry. And sisters are catching hell and they're dying. And it's like, got it. As Joe Madison, our late friend, would say, what you gonna do
What you
about
doing about it?
He always say,
how
what
many people have an issue with domestic violence but have signed up to be a safe house? You know what a safe house is? When a woman is being secreted away, she has to stop at houses along the way.
What you gonna do?
How many people have signed up with the domestic violence headquarters to be a safe house? If you moving a woman through my city, I can keep her 12 days,
What
10
you gonna
days,
do?
3 days. You know, because Karen is a classic example of what we do and what we've done, that I just want to give us the opportunity to call, as powerful as we are, and speak anger and upset with no purposeful foundation. That's why I was trying to take that over.
Absolutely.
There. Of course you feel it. Write that down. Put
Right.
that on your worksheet. Put that in your journal.
Channel your anger.
Right. Do something with
Yep.
it. And then take it and do something with it, because we don't care about, I care about the children. I care about men. I care about, I care about us as a people. You care.
Absolutely.
So again, that identity, so people will hear what she's saying. We don't. And because she's putting it on them as an identity, discard her message, which is, beloveds, we need to be more mindful of the children.
There you go. Miss Adams from Michigan. Miss Adams, you're on Roland Martin Unfiltered. What's your question for Iyanla?
Yes, hi. I wanted to find out, in encapsulating all of those things, the collaboration of all the white papers, the journals, the history books, and all of the ancestral knowledge, that advocacy is definitely important. But tying all those together for mental health and access to psychiatrists, things of that nature, we wanted to just find out, what do you suggest for community health workers, in essence, just individuals within the community, to continue to push, that is, totally advocating for our new policies and changes, even though the world may not implement it, we need to implement it back into our communities. And how would that protocol or framework be suggested from you?
So I'll address the public policy, and then Iyanla can address the community aspect. First,
okay, that sounds perfect.
I appreciate your question, Ms. Adams. Thanks a lot. There is a public policy component to this. This is why I'm always trying to get our people to understand voting. The reality is, cities, school boards, counties, state legislatures, and the federal government allocates dollars to mental health, to domestic violence, to various programs. There's a sister who is running for, she's in a runoff for a criminal court judge in Dallas County. I ran to her at church on Sunday. And she said to me, Roland, if I'm elected, I'm gonna find her name. I know my mom and daddy watch it, so y'all text me her name. She said, if I'm elected, I'm going to set up a trauma program. I'm gonna set up a trauma program in my court. That's public policy. So if that sister wins, the reaction, Iyanla, is that she's gonna create this so as opposed to sending somebody to jail,
right.
she's gonna create the program. That's public policy. So we should be advocating for dollars in budgets. Now, that's the public policy component. The community component is different.
I think if you're a social worker, a community worker, a guidance counselor, a teacher, whatever you are, do your own spiritual hygiene. Because we got crazy people teaching our kids. We got crazy people working in our programs, impatient, stressed out, anxiety-ridden.
Also collect data.
So, yeah.
If you're at a church, go to your pastor and say, Pastor, can we do a survey? Who are the certified licensed psychologists and counselors in our church?
LSW.
And provide that list to the membership.
And do your work, too.
Right, and then if you don't go to a church, hey, do your research. Who are the black psychologists, the black psychiatrists, the black counselors who in your town, in your city, and say, hey, we put together a list. This is what I keep trying to tell people. You don't have to ask permission to do that.
No, you do not.
So your point to Karen in LA, that's one thing you do. So now all of a sudden, if you're in Shreveport or you're in Charlotte or you're in Des Moines or wherever, you say, hey, we got the list. You need some therapy? Here are the black folks who do it. Pick whoever you want to go to, because the person who don't know, they don't even know where to look. You could put the list together. That's called helping the community out and putting it on your website, sharing it with churches, putting it in your text chats, sharing it with various groups, and now that thing is circulating all around the community.
And I want to, again, encourage teachers, social workers, community workers, do your work also so that when people come to you, you meet them with presence and grace and not anxiety and just discarding them.
Hey, I know you probably like when people come up to me, they're like, hey, what's your issue? What you need? Not a problem. Hit so-and-so.
Right.
Like I'm all about, listen, you ain't got to give me the 20-minute story. I'm all like, what you need?
Yeah.
No, hit so-and-so. Hit so-and-so.
Right.
That's called being a resource.
Right.
James Cook from North Carolina, the first brother to call. I got 5 other sisters. I'm going to come to y'all, but I got to throw a brother. James, what's your question for Iyanla?
Thank y'all for this show. It really helped me. I'm a veteran, and I see so many black veterans that need mental health.
Yeah.
But how do I encourage them? Because I go through mental health myself. I get counseling, and I've been doing it over a year, and we need it. But how do I go about, I try to encourage them, but they really deny. But how can I go about trying to encourage even more black veterans to get help?
Hey, James, have you ever walked with one? Have you ever said, you know what, I'm going to take you, brother, or I'll go with you?
That's it.
Most of the time, I try to share with them. They deny to say nothing wrong.
No. But here's what I'm asking. If you know something is wrong, have you ever said, hey, brother, I'll go to the VA. You know what? I'll go with you. I'll drive you. I'll go with you. It's okay. Have you ever tried that?
I never tried that, but I will now.
There you go. And see, here's the deal, James. You can't save everybody.
Right.
I just want you to do it with one person. And here's the piece. If that brother says, hey man, I don't, you say, listen, you know what? I'm gonna go to another brother. I'm gonna go to 5 or 10. One of them might say, man, please go with me. Because they've been waiting on somebody to walk with them. And so just try that, and then you might find some success.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, James.
They won't go until it hurts bad enough. And we really do, Roland, need to deal with the issue of denial. So many of us are in denial about what's going on. Don't want to talk about it, sometimes because we don't have the language, sometimes because we don't feel equipped, and sometimes because we just too lazy to do the work.
But I think the walking with someone is so important because they may be thinking, I'm going by myself. But if we just simply say, hey, Doc, I'll go with you. I'll be outside here waiting on, I'll take you back home.
Yeah.
You may be, and that may be their start.
Right.
On that road.
Right.
To get set.
Absolutely.
Usually to help somebody get on that road. Let's go to Donna McAdoo. Donna put a whole government name in here. Donna McAdoo Kelly, Springfield, Missouri. She put everything in here. Donna, you're on Rolling About the Unfiltered. What's your question for Iyanla?
Hey, my brother, how are you?
Great.
I'm good.
I understand that. My name is Donna McAdoo. Pardon my speech, I had throat cancer, so...
It's up. Donna, we hear you just fine.
Anyway, I wonder why we stay so long. I was in St. Louis, and I moved to Springfield in 2009. This man wouldn't hit me, but he would choke me. And when he choked me so hard that my eye popped out, I knew I had to not say nothing. He went to work, I went to the highway. We stayed too long.
Don, thanks for your call. You actually addressed it. You said
You will not leave until it hurts bad enough. For her, it was a popped out eye. For me,
and when I try to talk to these young ladies, they give excuses. He didn't mean it. He was drunk. All this other stuff.
Yep.
Doesn't hurt bad enough. It just doesn't hurt bad enough. When it hurts bad enough.
Don, thanks for your phone call.
When it hurts bad enough, they'll leave. But here's the thing. When it hurts bad enough, they'll leave, but then don't blame him. And that's the other thing we get into. You know, then we'll make him wrong for us staying.
Yep.
And everything, there's a lesson. I learned so much staying in that relationship. I didn't know I was learning. I didn't get the lessons until later, but I never, ever made him wrong. What he did was wrong. How I participated was wrong. But I never made him wrong, and I don't think people understand the difference.
Yep.
What he did was wrong. It was wrong. What I did was equally wrong.
Denise from Virginia. Denise, you're on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Your question for Iyanla. Denise?
What do you do if the person is not willing to get help or receive help? How long do we wait for that lifelong? Do we wait for a call back? If they don't call you back and then you find out that it went the wrong way, how do you keep from beating yourself up thinking you should have did X, Y, and Z beforehand? I once heard someone say that you can't help someone if they don't want to help themselves.
Denise, I just want to clarify. When you say that person, that man, that woman,
woman.
Got it. So
the woman.
So you're saying that if that woman doesn't want to leave, if that woman doesn't want to get help, is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
Yes. If you've advised her, and as a mother, I've said to the person, as his mother, I'm telling you, sister, this isn't going to go well for you. You need to leave. And they still don't leave, and they stay in that predicament, in that situation. How much time do you give yourself before you reach out and say, okay, I need you to do X, Y, Z. I need you to, and if they still don't leave and you drop it, then how much more space do you need to give this person?
But before I go to Iyanla, I want to ask you a question. You said, as the mother of that man, you went to the woman. Is that what? And
I said, this isn't going to go well.
No. I understand that. No, hold on. I heard you. I heard you. Here's my question for you, and then this is not judging. What conversation have you had with him?
For him to not do what he was doing, you don't put your hands on a woman, you don't do this. How would you like if someone did this to your sister?
Right. Hold on. I got all of that. Have you said to him, and I'm assuming this is your son, have you said to him, son, you need some help. Son, you need some therapy. Son, I will take you there because the path that you are wrong on is a destructive one. Have you said that to him?
I have said to him.
And again,
the woman,
I just want to ask Donna.
Role model or,
No, Don, I just want to ask. And again, I'm not judging. I'm just walking through.
Right.
You said to him, son, you need some help. And
yes.
What did he say to you?
I don't need no help. I just need them to do, just a lot of venting, and not being accountable for what he's doing, not being held responsible for what he's doing. So much not feeling bad until I say, and then he'll come back and say, yeah, Mom, you were right. I should have did. Because I'll say, just leave. You have to leave because if it gets too hot and gets too emotional, you have to step out of that situation. You're not going to see the wrong that you're doing until you leave and get out of it.
So, okay, so when you did that, and he said, Mom, you're right, did you say, son, here is the name of a counselor, a therapist, a psychiatrist?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I had looked up several places that he could check himself into, several places he could go to talk to people, several brothers that he could talk to, several Mason brothers he can go to, and I tried to pair him with different stronger men that he could go to because my father wasn't here anymore. Than the role model he did have, that person wasn't here anymore. So it looked like to him that I have no ally. I have nobody to go to anymore. His father wasn't in his life. We couldn't go there. And so I saw other men that I could say, okay, talk to this man. Talk to this brother. You know, seek this out from this and that person.
Got it. And he still resists.
He would go to him, but he just wouldn't listen. He wouldn't listen sometimes.
Iyanla.
But now that he's gotten older, he's regretted that and says, I wish I had listened to you, Mom. I wish I had done it this way. I wish I'd have went on and did this and that. So he's matured from that now. But I just wanted to say to that female person, how much space do we give her before we say, you know, you need to leave, you know? And then if they don't leave and you give them the tools and you tell them how to leave, because being a person in a domestic relationship myself, I understood what she was going through and how she was going to justify what he was doing when I'm saying to her, that's not your fault. This is not your fight. This is him.
Okay.
But you need to know that you can't stay there. You have to secure it and be a safe haven for your children.
Got it. Thanks for your call, Iyanla.
Thank you.
She don't want to hear what I got to say.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
She's over-involved.
Yes, ma'am.
You are too involved in this business. You are too involved. You don't get to tell a woman to leave her husband. You don't get to do that. It's none of your business. What you get to do is to be an elder woman there to support her, to talk about whatever it is that she needs to talk about, to offer her some presence, support, and guidance. It's not your business, because if you tell her to leave and she doesn't and anything happens, then you're going to take that on. And it's not yours to take on. And you don't get to tell your son how to be a husband. You get to tell him how to be a son, how to be a man. And if he doesn't want to listen to you, he doesn't. You got to have clearer boundaries here. You're over-involved. And when he wants to do it, he will. Your job, Mama, is to pray. Your job is to be present to the degree. Your job is to have real boundaries. But you looking for men for him and this for him, beyond, here's a name, I'll go with you. You over-involved in this.
I'm going to say this, Donna. You done exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, get out.
You went to talk to your son, you tried to help him. You went to the sister, you tried to help. You have done, no one can say Donna did not do what she's supposed to do. Iyanla said it earlier. A person does not leave until they have decided that the pain is no longer bearable.
Do they have children?
She's
gone.
She's already gone.
But she could be grandma. Just be grandma.
Yeah.
Just be grandma.
I don't want Donna to beat herself up.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Denise. And I heard all her pain, and I heard it. But the reality is, we've all been there.
Yeah.
If you can't make a grown person do it, all you can do is give them as many options as possible, and then it's.
But remember earlier I said, be a soft place for her to fall. Mm-hmm. But don't just come to complain. What is your choice? What do you... Okay, so you can come, you and the kids can come, we can go shopping, we can bake cake, cookies, whatever. We can't talk about your marriage, because it's clear to me you're not ready to do anything about it right now.
There you go. Is it G from Lawton, Oklahoma? They're still there?
Sir. Yes, sir.
What's your question?
My question is, in reference to the church, how can we get the church more involved? Because I'm listening to all of the other callers calling in to know I'm not a minister, but I'm thinking some of these things that they're going through goes back to the church. The church needs to get more involved in what's going on now.
So, G, let me ask you a question. Do you belong to a church? Do you belong to a church in Lawton, Oklahoma?
No, I don't.
Okay, so let's start right there. So now hold up, G. Now, G, hold up. See, G, you called in, and see, we're gonna have to go there. Now, so again, see, I guess some of y'all thought only Iyanla was gonna ask the questions. No, G, you are asking the church to get involved.
And you ain't involved.
The church is comprised of people. The church is not a pastor. So how can you, being a non-church person, ask the church to get involved when the church needs people who care about the issue to get involved. So you clearly, by calling in, you concerned about this issue. Why is it that you have not joined a church in Lawton, Oklahoma that may very well have a strong domestic violence or anti-domestic violence ministry or a strong men's ministry?
Well, I'm gonna keep it real, Ro. I'm still shopping around. Number one.
Now hold on, G. How long you been in Lawton, Oklahoma?
I moved back about 5 years ago. Now I'm not from here. I'm originally from Los Angeles.
G, I got that. So G, you've been shopping for 5 years. 5 years. G, it didn't take you 5 years.
I do listen to Jamal Bryant. Okay?
No. Listen. Listening online is one thing, but being involved in the ministry is another. Here's all I'm saying, G. It didn't take you 5 years to find a place to live. It didn't take you 5 years to find a job. It probably didn't take you 5 years to find a woman or a man. I don't know your situation. I'm just putting.
No.
G, I never assume. G, I never assume. My point is this here, G.
Slow your roll.
G, I got you.
100%.
I got you, G. Here's my whole point.
Slow your roll.
G, I got you. G, I got you. My point is this here, G. If you want the church to be involved, you're going to have to be involved in the church.
I know, brother. I know. Thank you.
All right, G. Find a church soon, G. Like, give yourself a time limit. All right,
okay.
G.
Hey, Ro.
Yeah.
Ro. We got you and I have a common denominator, brother.
All right, G. I appreciate it, my brother. G, hello, G. I gotta go.
Both my grandparents are from Opelousas.
Okay, gotcha. My grandparents are from Opelousas, Louisiana. Iyanla, the reason I press G on that is because we keep saying community got to do something, church got to do something, people got to do something, but those institutions are made up of people.
But did G download his worksheet? Is G doing his work? Because see, when people aren't doing their work, they make up what work other people got to do.
Hey, so do this, Keenan and Wesley. I need y'all to, so the links that of Iyanla's worksheets, put those on blackstarnetwork.com so people can just go right there and download it. So y'all let me know when it's live on the website.
See, because he's not doing his work.
See?
When you're not doing your work, you make up the work other people have to do.
Yeah, you can't keep saying we need this and you ain't doing nothing with them. Let's see here. Is it Denicia from Long Island, New York? Is it Denicia? She's still there?
Hi, yes.
Denicia, hi. You're on Roller
Hello.
Unfiltered. What's your question for Iyanla?
Okay, first I just want to thank both of you for creating a space and time to have such an important conversation. So I'm going to sort of deviate slightly, but I believe is relevant. So it sounds like what is at the cornerstone of what we're trying to achieve is collective purpose, collective impact, and collective hope. And I believe to achieve this, we have to surrender the pressure that we put on one another to be Christian, especially because Christianity for so many of us is triggering. And with this generation, less of our kids in the African American community are identifying with Christianity. And so I understand that many of our organizations, whether you're talking about D9 organizations, NAACP, it's rooted in European Christianity or the religion of our oppressor. So my question is, how can we promote better respect in our community for our brothers and sisters who are not Christian, but are equally committed to the strength and the health of our community?
I didn't know we were talking about Christianity. I thought we were talking about spiritual hygiene. Do your work. Spiritual hygiene. Do your work. And understand culture. You know, culture will, who you are as a person, as an individual, where you come from, what is your cultural roots, your cultural language, will take you where you need to go. This really isn't about Christianity. Those who walk that path, walk that path. Those who walk other paths will walk other paths. But if you don't do your individual work to clean your mind, clear your heart, align your body, embrace spiritual truth and law, it doesn't matter what the oppressor does to you, you're going to do it to yourself. You know, I remember Dick Gregory, one time said, you know, we talk about what the white man do and what the white man do, and the white man ain't putting them spare ribs in your mouth, and you got high blood pressure. You know, we have to look at what we're doing, and don't worry about that. Because when you get right in your spirit, when your mind is clear, when your heart is clean, when you are aligned, you will be directed to where you're supposed to be, whether that's the church, the mosque, the temple, you know, the oak tree in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to come from within because God is going to take you where you're supposed to be.
Denisha, we appreciate your phone call. Thanks a lot. Demi from Texas. Demi, we're taking 4 more calls, 3 after this one. Demi, what is your question for Iyanla?
Hi, Roland and Iyanla. Ms. Vanzant,
yes.
I just wanted to say, I think Roland answered my question because I was just asking for how do we go forward with seeking mental health professionals, and he did clarify that when he said go through the church or try to go through directories, I guess, and look for Black therapists.
Right. So I want you to look up. I want you to look up the Association of Black Psychologists.
National Association.
We had
is
Dr. Monique Swift Muhammad on. She's the president.
Right.
There are several organizations, but start with them. They have a database. Also, National Medical Association. That's the group of black doctors. Try them as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to also be reaching out.
And social workers, International Association of Black Social Workers.
You got social workers as well. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to also begin to compile links to those different groups and have them on blackstarnetwork.com. That way we can just say, hey, we already got on the website, and we'll just add more to it, just to make it a lot easier for y'all to be able to access the information. But we appreciate it. Thanks for your phone call.
And if you are a psychologist, psychiatrist, social worker, licensed clinical social worker, please send me your information at customer@iyanla.com, because I do have a resource list.
There you
I
go.
have coaches, ministers. So if you are, you know, and you accept patients, clients, send me your information. I would love to put it on my resource list.
You said
customer@Iyanla, IYANLA.com.
Got it.
Send me your card, your number, what services you offer, and we'll put it on our resource list.
There we go.
I have a real long resource
Good.
list.
Clyde from Houston. Clyde, you're on Roland Martin Unfiltered. What's your question for Iyanla?
Hey, how's it going, Martin?
Doing great.
Again, I wanted to say to you in regards to, again, the topic itself, that you and what you and Iyanla was doing in terms of the abuse that's happening with the Black women in our community, too, as well. I think also, too, Roland, that you're on target with what you're doing, as well as her, having her there. I say to you that I grew up in a household where my dad, again, was an abuser in terms of my mom being an alcoholic. But I say to you that it's important that the topic that you have, so much of what you're saying, I wasn't taught about how to handle and deal with my wife or my woman leaving the house. I became what my daddy was leaving the house too. We become what we come from in terms of our behavior. Yeah. I say to you is that, you know, it's widespread with us as Black men not being taught about how we should handle our women, because, you know, we become what we've been exposed to.
Clyde, how did you?
Clyde,
how did you?
What's his wound? Ask him what his wound
Yeah,
is. What's your wound, Clyde? What's your personal wound that you are still working to heal? What's your wound?
Not so much of that is I'm calling to support you and what you're doing in terms of my support, experiencing that growing up. You know,
so
as
what's
a
your
Black
wound,
young
Clyde?
man and becoming a man.
So is that your wound? Seeing your father physically assault your mother?
Exactly. Exactly. I agree. Exactly.
And here's my question. Here's my question for you. How did you arrive? How did you heal? How did you say, I'm not going to do that? Or did you do that and you had to get counseling?
Seeing the pain from my mom and what she went through in terms as a young man, looking at her in terms as a woman and what she'd been through. So that, yeah, exactly, I did. I seen her do that. I seen him do that as well.
Okay. Got it. Clyde, thanks for your phone call. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Clyde. Thanks a lot. We're going to stay in the Houston area. Deborah from Channelview, Texas. Deborah, you're on Roland Martin Unfiltered. What's your question for Iyanla?
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking my call. I appreciate this. Roland, you are, Iyanla is doing such a great job. We really, really need this. What I want to say is that a lot of black mothers are raising sons. And it's really emotional for me because we do the best that we can. We really, really do. I have 4 sons. Thank God I wasn't a single parent, but I have 4, and I have some wonderful sons. I'm a mom, and I have wonderful sons. And at an early age, my husband and I taught all of our boys about domestic violence and not to hit. They learned that starting at 5 years old. So we always talked about that in my family. And I just want to know, how did you start the conversation? Because it's not an easy conversation to start. And as a parent, we know our kids, and we can read our kids, and we know when something is wrong. So you want to step in as early as you can. So how do you just start that conversation in the family that don't even want to hear it?
It's a couple of things. I want to give a big up and a shout out to black women who are raising sons, and to implore you to do your work, because all men marry their mothers. If you're angry, wounded, broken, whatever it is, he's going to look for that in a woman, either to fix it or to engage it. And as a mom, we owe it to our children. I talk about, in Spiritual Hygiene, I talk about the contributions that I made to my daughter's life that supported her death, because I didn't know that I had work to do. I think the conversation begins, Ma, with self-respect. Men who really respect themselves don't beat women. Men who really respect themselves, who haven't bought into the devaluation, dehumanization, minimization that this society heaps upon them. A man who really loves and respects himself, won't do that.
And a man who does not embrace patriarchy, misogyny, does not do it as well.
He doesn't. And so the conversation with our sons really has to be about loving, honoring, and respecting themselves. This is what I taught my great-grandson that I'm raising. You are a strong black boy becoming a powerful black man who's going to do great things in the world. That's what I say to him. You are a strong black boy. And as a black boy, you have to have respect, responsibility, accountability, courage, kindness, and compassion. We forgot that part, kindness. Kind man is not going to hit a woman. A compassionate man is not going to hit a woman. A man who has respect is not going to, a man who's responsible. So it's teach the principles that they need to embody as men, and then they won't have that bad behavior.
And not even just hit. Again, I keep, for me, everything is the continuum, okay? And I deal with, I think linear. The end of the line is murder.
Yes.
Before murder is physical assault.
Cussing you out.
Before physical assault is verbal assault.
Yes.
And so,
and psychological assault.
Right. So before verbal assault is tone that creates fear, anxiety, all of that.
Intimidation.
And so how I want us to think about this here is, we know what the end is. I need us to bring it all the way back here to say, now, so when you ask the question, how do you, this is not, the starting point is, for me, is not teaching sons not to hit.
Right.
That's not the starting point.
No, absolutely not.
The starting point is, son, why did that thing make you angry or cause you to have heightened tension and for you to shout and yell?
Well, I want to go back even further than that.
Right.
Before that is, tell me what you're feeling.
Right. So what I'm saying is, so and again, I'm not. Your question is excellent, but we got to move our starting point way
back.
earlier.
Yeah.
Because the early stuff leads to the verbal abuse, leads to the physical hit, leads to the choking, leads to the sexual assault in relationships, and then it's going to lead to murder.
Yeah.
So we got to be dealing with this stuff on the front end.
So I want to say to all mothers out there who have sons or grandmas, who have grandsons, aunties, who have nephews, who are 4 years, between 4 and 13, figure out how to help them verbalize what they're feeling. There are books that you can get so that they know the distinction between frustration and gas.
Right.
Between disappointment and exhaustion, between anger and sorrow, anxiety, disappointment. Be willing to ask him, tell me what you feel. How did that make you feel? Because that is what overwhelms the central nervous system of a man. Suppressed feelings. What overflows the central nervous system of a woman is repetitive thoughts. So get him to talk about, what does that feel? How did you feel?
Right. Or this is not tied to this, but actually I think it is. It's also, and I'm a firm believer in this, allowing a kid to figure it out.
Right.
Meaning, and I listen,
Don't do it for
listen, I ain't got kids, but I've raised 6 nieces. And I'll be sitting there going, I know the answer. You're going to figure it out. Because the reason I did that, Iyanla, because I wanted to see their thought process.
Yeah.
I wanted to see in real. I'm sitting, because everything. Look, when it comes to media, I don't care. I remember we were at TV One. Henry knows. I was the radio show I had. They were screwing the phone calls up. I'm like, man, I ain't dealing with y'all. So I sat there. And I had a mixer and I had cables, and all I did was just sit there and just look at it. And Henry said, "You ain't leaving here till you figure this out." I'm like, "Yep." And so the whole thing was thinking through. You made a point earlier when you talked about the social media world, and I need parents to understand. For millennials are not as bad on this, but absolutely with Gen Z, Gen Alpha. The social media world and how they're being taught in educationally. They're being taught to memorize.
That's right.
But not to think.
That's right.
Not to process.
That's right.
Not to go through, to your point, why did that make you angry?
That's right.
Why are you upset? Why? And so, for me, I wanted to see my nieces think.
Right.
I wanted to see this, that, and the other.
The other thing
because that's a part of also, you take the thinking through of that and you apply it over here. Again, going back to when clothes shrunk. Now, I could get mad and yell, and it could lead to, or I can we're going to bypass all that and just do this. But I had to process all of that.
But you know what else that taught you, Roland? Which like you said, they learn to memorize, not to think. Thinking through it, working it out teaches patience.
Yes.
It teaches creativity.
Actually, it calms you down.
Imagination.
It calms you down.
So it gets you a whole lot of things.
You forgot why you were mad.
And as I said earlier, Black women, we love deeply, we love loyally, and we love sacrificially. But in that process, we overgive, we overextend, we over-involve. The mama telling her grown son with a wife what not to do. Oh, you want to do that and end up in jail? That's not going to turn out well for you, but I hear you. You have a right to make that choice.
I never forget. Before Alexandria, get ready for your question. It was in Houston, Texas. These two white guys and a black guy decided to go to Montrose, which is the gay part of Houston, and they killed a man. And the reporters were in the hallway talking to the parents, and the dad was standing there, and the mom was over there crying, and the dad said, "Let me be clear. My son did it. My son's pleading guilty. We're not going to mortgage our house to hire a lawyer to get him off. He has to accept the consequences." He said, "I hate that my wife is having to sit here and deal with this pain." Yeah. He said, "But the reality is my son made a decision and he's going to have to accept the consequences of his decision.
Wow.
It was now. My dad watched 5 hours of news a day. I mean, I will never forget that story because this black daddy, it wasn't this whole, oh no, my baby, not my baby. He said, no, we are not about to sit here and ruin our lives trying to get him off. He said he did it.
And you know, that's probably the most loving thing that he could do. First for himself and his wife, but second of all for the son to hold him accountable, to allow him to experience the consequences and to take responsibility.
He was saying, me and your mama can't save you.
Yeah, so many times, you know, we keep people from hitting rock bottom because we forget God made the rock. And we also don't want to see them what we consider suffering, not knowing whether or not in that consequence, in that choice, is the ultimate lesson they have to learn.
To that mama, her son may have to go to jail.
Yeah.
He keeps beating his, if she gets enough is enough, if she filed charges, and if she could say, son, I told you we were gonna be here.
Yeah.
But you didn't listen.
Right.
I gave you everything, I did the resources, but you didn't listen. And people are going to have to go through a criminal justice system. If you are physically harming somebody, that is assault. And if you commit that act, you're gonna have to deal with the consequences. We trying to keep people from even getting to that point. Alexandria, you have the last question from Philadelphia City Brotherly Love.
Since you started these platforms.
Thank you.
My question as a black woman with black men, watching them going through day by day, going through the motion of survival and survival mode.
That's our
And
number one
survival
enemy.
mode can cause you to burn out, and that burnout can cause depression. I've watched it in several men in my life. My nephew and my best friend. My best friend is right now watching his father go through hospice. My nephew informed me that swimming upstream is his way of handling things. And they both put their health aside. They both put time to rest aside. And that's where my concern is. I'm not trying to be a nag, but my thing is I want to know the right questions to ask to make sure they are okay and taking care of themselves.
Alexandria, thanks for your question.
I don't even think it's a question. I just think it's a statement. Listen, I'm looking at you. This is what I see. This is what I feel. I want you to know I'm here. For support, I'm here. Don't ask any questions. And there's nothing you can ask because the one thing you don't want to do is to press in too deeply, too far, and then have them shut down on you. So there's nothing, just say, you know what, I'm looking at you and I know what I'm seeing and I want you to know I'm here. If you need to go talk to somebody, I'll go with you. As you said, if you need a day off, can I get you a massage? I mean, whatever it is. Here's the question that I would ask. Tell me how you're feeling. Not what you're doing. Tell me how you're feeling. And just let him start there. How often do people ask you, Roland, as a man, Roland, how you feel?
Rarely.
Okay.
Rarely.
They'll ask you what you doing, what you up to.
Rarely. Alexandria, first of all, thank you for your phone call, and I'm gonna answer your question. So thank you for your phone call.
Thank you.
Rarely it happens, because people pull, texting and calling and wanting. Can you call somebody? Can I get on your show? I got a book and all of that, and it's emotionally draining.
Yeah.
And so what I always say, you have to, when you've been drained, you got to be filled back up. For me, I love golf. Golf is my escape.
Okay.
I'm outdoors.
Okay.
I'm walking. I'm enjoying it. I may not be playing that great that day, but that's my thing. I'm rarely on my phone. I need my escape.
Okay.
What I would say to Alexandria, first of all, when she said, the brother said he was swimming upstream. Now, first of all, I don't play with water. I'm a land-based brother. But swimming experts say when you are swimming against the current,
yeah,
the smart thing to actually do is to swim sideways.
Right. So you can go across
so you can go across.
Yeah.
The problem that what we have not done is we have not, and I need people listening and watching. You threw out something that I guarantee you people went, psh, what's she talking about? When you said a massage.
Yeah.
I need people to understand, rarely, if ever, are men gifted massages.
Really?
Oh.
I do all the time.
No, you ain't never. I play in all these golf massages, in all these golf tournaments I play in. Massage is never one of the on the silent list. Never. But when you said it, here's what immediately jumped out. To that brother who's going through stuff, there's no place to release tension.
Yeah.
There's no place. He ain't never. He may have a massage. Oh my God, this is what it's like. Men don't get massages like that. What we have to do is we have to figure out. I'm gonna go back. Release valves.
Yeah.
What is your release
valve?
What is the thing that you have in your life that releases pressure?
That's right, because pressure will build up and explode.
Is it playing pool? Is it like what is it? What
healthy?
Yes. No. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh no.
Like, see, look, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do an energy drink or coffee. So the thing then becomes, what is your healthy release valve?
Okay.
But you got to have it.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, so when I see a lot of cats, they don't. They around the family. It's always, man, it's work. No. You got. I don't care if it means go take a walk.
Yeah.
Got a release valve. And so that's what I would say. My advice to Alexandria would be, as she's talking to those men, saying, I know you feel hopeless, but the reality is, anything could turn around at any given moment.
Any moment could be the moment.
But if this is not well, that ain't well, yeah. When the moment comes, you ain't gonna be ready because you won't be able to notice it.
Yeah.
And so recommending to them those release valves, saying if that's her son or nephew and is this stress, bring the kids over.
Right.
Y'all go out and I got it. Folk gotta have those. That is pressure building.
That's right.
It's building up. The sister who called saying sounds like excuses. Y'all, and I a bunch of y'all on social media trying to tell me the same thing. I'm trying to tell y'all, we gotta stop using phrases like, that's an excuse. No, nobody wakes up ready to beat somebody. Stuff leads to that. What we are trying to do is confront the stuff.
Yeah.
And deal with the stuff. Deal with the wound. Deal with all of that.
The emotional deregulation, the overwhelmed central nervous system, the suppressed emotions. I'm telling you, I am totally convinced that our ancestors, present in our DNA and in our bone marrow, are so distraught with the way we are behaving that they're rebelling against us, within us, to bring us to the point of saying, we got to do better. We just have to do better as a people. Men, look at your wound and own the harm that it's caused, and figure out what you need to do to get the wound healed up so that you can eliminate the harm. Women, you can love them, whoever they are, but don't lose yourself. And that's why you have to do your spiritual hygiene. You're cleaning your mind. You're strengthening yourself. Men, look at your invisible aches. Look at your invisible aches, because it just looks like you're not hurting. We know you are, and we don't know what to do about it. So when we know you're hurting, we don't know what to do about it, then we'll overgive, overextend, over-excuse, because we do love you. We do love you. All of us need to stop thinking of each other as enemies. Black men are not the enemy of black women. Black women are not the enemy of black men. And this society, this structure of this system has pitted us against one another, and somebody's getting rich off of it. The other thing, we've got to really, as a community, individuals, I don't want to say we, as individuals, we really want to start monitoring what we put out in the universe in terms of our messaging, in terms of our speaking, in terms of our canceling, judging. Why? Because everything you put out is coming back to you. Some of us are getting our butt kicked about gossip and judgment and speaking that we did 5, 10, 15 years ago. It's coming back. There's an equal and opposite reaction for everything. So we just need to clean up, Roland.
What you just said there, my final comments is this. There was when I was in the Dominican Republic on vacation, anniversary vacation, and somebody hit me and they said, there are people who on TikTok who are calling for YouTube to cancel your channel. And I laughed. And I said, well, that's dumb. And I said, so for the folk who are mad with something I said or posted, I said to this person, I said, why don't you go on their page and ask them how many other black shows are having the conversation?
Well, how many other black shows are there?
Well, there are black shows.
Okay.
But there are black shows, but then there are shows hosted by blacks. We want to get rid of the entire show and network because you mad about this one thing. But tomorrow, there's something you gonna want somebody fighting for you.
Yeah.
And the thing that you want to get rid of may not be here.
Yeah.
And so to your point, I need our folk to stop being so reactionary, so angry, so resentful, and say, who's actually trying to help our people and harm our people? And my last point is this, and why, because somebody told me, man, you only feel this way because Justin Fairfax is your frat brother. I said, no. I said 17 years ago, when Chris Brown beat Rihanna, I was at CNN. And I was watching all of these networks and CNN. They had all these shows, and I mostly saw women on these shows talk about domestic violence. And the conversations were to protect the woman, protect the kids, get out of that situation. And I was filling in for Campbell Brown. And I said, I want an all-male panel. They went, what? I said, well, all I've seen are women talking about domestic violence. I said, if men are committing 96% of the violence, I want to have a panel of men who can confront and deal with men. You would have thought I was proposing to shut the network down. They fought me on it. Kevin Powell had written about abusing women before and how he sought therapy. I wanted to have him on. They told me absolutely, he was on an MTV reality show, wouldn't do it. A week later, he's on Oprah. A week later, Oprah had a show with men domestic violence.
Yeah.
And I sent an email, you should rub it in our faces. I said, no, I'm just letting y'all know. My instincts were right. You told me I was wrong.
But you're a black man.
But he was. I said,
they're going to diminish
on,
you,
right?
Dehumanize you, demoralize you.
And so I made them. But the problem is they forgot what kind of black man I was. I said, no, we doing the panel, and the person who produced the segment is now the president of MSNBC. She didn't want to do it, but I said, no, we doing the panel. So the point I'm making to people, that was 17 years ago.
And we're still
what I dealt with
it.
my sister was 24 years ago. No, it was 24, 25 years ago. So that predated that. So I've always been saying this, that we will never be able to get a handle and confront domestic violence until we deal with
the mental health issue. And the mental health issue.
Right.
And I want to say this, we talked, and what I told you was, don't take it on. Don't take it on. People want to dump their responsibility onto you. Again, we each have to take responsibility for our mental health, our spiritual hygiene, the trajectory of our life. Then we can come together as a whole community. The question has to be, though, responsibility? What are you bringing to the table? So I want to thank you for continuing to have the conversation. I hope people will do their work. Go get your worksheet. Take a look at The Invisible Ache for Men, or The Spirit of a Man for women. Take a look at Spiritual Hygiene.
So, so first of all, name the 3 books again. So Keenan, so do this here. Grab the links and put it on the same thing. So your worksheet is already up on the website.
It's up on the
Y'all
website.
go to Black
and
Star
that's your personal work.
Go to blackstarnetwork.com. Y'all pull it up. No, not that. The website. The website. Thank you. So y'all, this right here, what you're seeing, Spiritual Hygiene for Black Men and Women, that is up right now on blackstarnetwork.com. You can download the worksheet.
And it's fillable. You don't even have to print it.
You can do the work now. You ain't got to wait till tomorrow. Y'all can start tonight. Keenan is going to add those books Iyanla mentioned. The book you mentioned about the brothers, I actually have that book at home. Actually, I have all 3 of those books at home.
The Invisible Ache, Courtney B. Vance.
I don't have that one.
Okay.
No, the
Spirit of a Man.
3 you mentioned, I have those.
And from here.
But my whole point is, so we're going to add those links as well. Folks, tomorrow, so Thursday, give me the Shreveport graphic. We're going to be in Shreveport on Thursday with Dr. Kevin Washington at Mount Canaan Baptist Church, 5 to 7 local time, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to be there. So look forward to that. I mentioned this. I'll go ahead and show it. The sister who I met at my parents' church, Lakeisha Smith. Y'all pull the graphic. She's running. She's running for a criminal court judge. My mama sent me my absentee ballot today so I can vote in the runoff. But when I was talking to her, she said that she said if I get elected, I am going to have a trauma unit in my court for these very issues. She told me that she experienced domestic violence, lived in a shelter. She understands these issues. And so when I talk about voting, that's the kind of folk you want to put in office. And that's a judge. And she saw the judge that we had on last week talking about the role they play. And so folks, we have all of that. Y'all saw all the links. You saw all the conversations we had. Do me a favor. Y'all need to be sharing it. If it's a whole bunch of mess and it's a whole bunch of gossip, we sharing stuff left and right. Oh, it's going to be 30,000, 100,000, 200,000 likes, hearts, all this sort of good stuff. But what this conversation can do for you will do more for you than any gossip conversation will. This is about breaking generational curses.
Yeah.
There are multi-generations that have experienced domestic violence. We could cut the generational curse today. We don't want a child, teenager, youngster, to have to now go through life, mama gone, daddy gone, murder-suicide, or mama killed, and daddy going to prison for life, or beating somebody, and same thing. We all can change this. We all have a role and responsibility. And I ask you to use your platform. You may not have 5 million followers. You may not have almost 2 million YouTube subscribers. You may not have any of that. But you can talk to one person.
That's right.
You could reach one person. And if that's all your capacity can handle, that's fine. Because you don't know that the one person who you're talking to, you might be saving their life. And so to the brother from Lawton, Oklahoma, find you a church and get involved. To the sister from Los Angeles who said we shouldn't be killing kids, you're right. But if we don't do this thing as a community, it cannot be done. And it cannot be done if black men are arguing with black women and black women are arguing with black men, and we're sitting here yelling, fighting, and talking about whose pain is greater, who's experienced more, because the reality is, ain't nobody gonna save us but us. And that's what our role and responsibility is. Iyanla, I appreciate this conversation.
I thank you.
Enjoyed it.
I did too.
Thanks a bunch, folks. Thank you for your phone calls. Thanks for watching. I see y'all comments in the chat. Of course, we'll be restreaming this as well. Don't forget, y'all support the work that we do. Listen, we ain't got millionaires and billionaires who cut us checks to support this show. It's really, we've been surviving because y'all have been standing with us every step of the way. We have now exceeded, Keenan, you sent it to me, I forgot. We're up to about 39,000 plus. We're close to 40,000 donors. Our goal is to get 20,000 people annually contributing $50 each. QR code, you see it right here on the screen. That's also for credit cards as well. Checks in money order, For all y'all folks who can't stand electronic stuff, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV. You want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag? Please do so by going to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Our t-shirts, hats, all that good stuff, including our best-selling shirt, Don't Blame Me, I Voted for the Black Woman. Y'all can get that as a t-shirt, as a crew neck as well. And we created a marketplace. This is another thing for me that's important, supporting black-owned businesses. We've got more than 50 black-owned companies that are on our marketplace at shopblackstarnetwork.com. These are all black-owned products, all black companies. When y'all buy products from there, you're also supporting this show because we receive a percentage of that as well. And so please go to the site, support those black companies. Download the app Fanbase. Isaac Hayes III is the founder of that. You can follow me at Roland S. Martin. I believe in supporting black-owned social media platforms. So download his app. Don't forget, watch Brittany Noble every day at noon Eastern. The breakdown of Brittany Noble on the Black Star Network. Get that as well. And don't forget, go to our website. Go to blackstarnetwork.com. Download the worksheets. Iyanla has one for men, one for women. Y'all can download them together. Y'all can fill them out separately. Y'all can turn this into a thing at a party. Y'all can call a group together for y'all having y'all frat brotherhoods. You can do this as well. This is about us doing the work as we speak right now. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.